Stay tuned. Your broadcast is about to begin.
Stay tuned. Your broadcast is about to begin.
Stay tuned. Your broadcast is about to begin.
Stay tuned. Your broadcast is about to begin. Stay tuned. Your broadcast is about to begin.
Stay tuned. Your broadcast is about to begin.
For the Ohio High School Football Coaches Show tonight. 6 o'clock we'll have Steubenville Big Red Coach Reno Suckott. I ain't got no voice, Danny. Can you hear me? Yeah. I got Andrew Connor at 6:30 and Toronto's coach at 7 and Central's coach at 8 o'clock. We'll be joined by Reno right here, coming off a 29-13 victory over the Dover Tornadoes, coach. Pretty physical football game Friday night.
It was physical.
I said in the second half.
I'm sore and I didn't play.
You didn't play. I said in the second half during the game when they took the ball and went right down the field and scored, and Jason and Jags asked me, I go, I think Dover just big red. That's what you guys do. You take the second half and you run it and you just overmatch them, but you answered right back on the next series.
Well, I think there was a 48-minute game, and I think the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 6 minutes of the second half, those 10 minutes, they played excellent. We played good, but they were better than us for those two areas.
I wanted to mention that, Coach. Billy led off on this, and when Dover got the ball and they were attacking your left side through their right side, and they were moving the ball effectively, you guys made some adjustments. I mean, were they just outplaying you at that time, or was it an assignment thing? Because when it mattered, you made the adjustments and you got that big 3rd and 4th down stop, on the play that they was going to.
Well, I just think that when you're playing a good football team, you're not going to shut them down. They're going to get a couple drives. And we just, we didn't change anything as far as alignments and assignments. We changed a few personnel adjustments, but they did a good job of lining us up and get us to make our call one way in running away from us. So they did a really good job there. But at the halftime, we said, listen, if they do this the first drive, then we're going to do this the rest of the game. So they did get that first drive in there, and they did a good job with it. But I just felt that, first of all, when we blocked the extra point, that really picked our team up. You could see them on the field. But secondly, back-to-back, we blocked the extra point, and then we scored in 4 or 5 plays. So the momentum went back to us. So they only had that momentum there for a couple seconds, and then it went back to us. And I just felt that from then on, I thought Todd did a pretty good job of adjusting, but I thought we did a pretty good job of keeping the ball and running the ball and just making the clock run. And like I said, and I told our players this at the end of the game, we played a great physical football game. We overcame penalties on drives and scored, so we played a great football game. They played a great football game. It's just that on our side, those last 4 minutes of the first half and first 6 minutes of the second half, they beat us. And but when you play a good football team, they're going to get their drives.
Agreed.
And we just had to answer it. But it was a hard fought game, and it was a physical game. And I thought I was proud of both teams.
And talking to Coach If before the game, he says, win, lose, or draw, I think both teams are going to get better. After the game, I think both teams probably got better by playing that game.
I felt that. I think that the key to us, though, was just keep fighting, and if you keep fighting, good things will happen. And we did a lot of good things, and they did a lot of good things, and that's what made it a good game. I mean, I'm not going to underestimate them, and I'm sure they're not going to underestimate us. But they did what they did, and we did what we did, and I think we just did it for a longer period of time.
I mean, you pounded the ball at him, and then you maintained possession. But I think the play that breaks the game open is the catch that Hill makes on a ball that was underthrown. Defensive man had it. I was disappointed it wasn't on Sunday Night Football, whatever that is. You got Moss, because he made a heck of an effort on that catch. Bazika goes in after that, but I think that was the turning point offensively.
Well, offensively it was, but I think the thing that got us from putting our heads down was a block extra point.
Right.
I think that got our heads back up. We were still up 14-13. Now that put us up, but I just feel that the turning point was the block extra point, and then the quick score. So both of them together, one doesn't get along without the other. So I think that both of those were good. And then when they got the ball back, we 3-and-outed them. And I think that was important also, because we got the ball again and drove down and scored again. So
I agree with what you say. Momentum is a tough thing to break. They had a lot of momentum. You blocked the extra point, and the momentum went right back to Steubenville's side, and you kept it for the rest of the game. I thought it was an excellent job of going for 2 on the second score to make the, let's just keep it going. Let's keep the momentum going. And I think you might have broke them on that.
Well, I just felt that the whole time I didn't want to go for 2, but I got talked into it, and because then they had to go for 2 twice to tie.
Yeah.
And it ended up good because we made it. But I just think that I really feel that in that fourth quarter that we were playing defense and offense and everything was to our advantage. But I think the whole thing was turned around by the block kick.
I think a block kick is, from a coaching standpoint, I think a block punt or kick is a credit to the effort of the kids and the coaching of the specialty teams, because I'll tell you, I think it takes extra.
To kick that short, come off the tee that low. You know, the closer you get to the goalpost, the higher the ball gets up off the tee. The further back you get, the lower it gets. And you know, for us to block an extra point for him, I think is it was a combination of a good scheme and a low kick.
And I thought offensively, like you always say during the week, I thought your quarterback controlled the offense, got him in and out of the huddle, didn't have any problems with that. I think the only thing that
we had one time we had to call timeout.
Yeah.
But I think it was a combination of a personnel change and a bastard formation. You know, something that you don't run all the time. So I think that was a combination of it. But we used the timeout and. I just thought that we came up with some really big plays offensively, running the ball and passing the ball. We came up with a couple really big plays, and just defensively, we had them in a lot of second and longs and third and longs, and that was to our advantage.
Now, the question everybody was asking, the play before half, there was a personal foul, taunt, whatever you were targeting.
But when you watch it, it's not targeted.
No, we both agreed on it. We agreed on that. But we were trying to figure out, does the clock stop, or did the ref?
Here's what the referee told me.
Okay.
It told myself and Coach If that when the penalty occurred, the ball was loose. Mm-hmm. So it was not in possession of anybody. If the clock is running on the foul, then the clock is running as soon as you blow it ready for. I'm going to check on that before Friday's game. Yeah. I don't know if it was a good call. I don't know if it was a bad call, but I didn't understand the rule. I don't think Coach If understood the rule, and we left it at that. And
it was about 6 of us that we didn't understand the rule neither. We were trying to figure it out.
We thought they had one more play coming.
Yeah.
And they thought they had one more play coming, but we learned from it. That was second down.
Yeah.
From now on, we know if that happens to us, we're going to be on the line. And as soon as they blow the ball ready for play, we're going to spike it. You know, and I'm sure they're going to go over that too now also, because it was only second down.
Yeah, that's what we didn't understand, because
that's interesting.
He started winding it, and Dover didn't know. They just stood there like they thought it was going to start on the snap.
Yeah.
You know, it was a tough way to end the second quarter.
I learned that a long time ago when they called on the whistle.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that when you're going to get up and line up, and as soon as that whistle blows, that means snap it. That means go snap it and get the spike.
Yeah.
So and we'll do that tomorrow. You know, we do all those little things on Thursday. We'll do that tomorrow just to. We'll have to have a name for it and practice it a few times.
The only thing that I can think of, a lot of personal fouls. I think you had 3 in the first half, 3 personal fouls.
Not personal fouls, unnecessary roughness.
Okay, yeah.
The one was on the sideline when the kid went up to catch the ball and we hit him, and I don't know. That officiating crew is a really good officiating crew, so I hate second guessing them, but. I admit my mistakes, and I made a lot of bad calls that game. But I just think that was questionable. But the targeting definitely wasn't targeting. A targeting foul is something where a defensive guy is lacking discipline and going in there knowingly head first, and that's a targeting foul. And once in a while, a targeting foul is. Just happened the way that the offensive guy turned and the defensive guy turned, and it happens like that. But on that play, I just think when you call targeting, you got to see it for sure
Yeah.
because it's such. I mean, that's a
big
big
call.
foul. That's 15 yards, and they're on the
Yeah.
on the 22-yard line. That's a big foul, especially when they're under a minute to play.
Yeah.
So, but whatever. But we both made it through it.
It worked out. We'll take our first break here. Big Red being sponsored by Fort Steuben Maintenance. We'll be back here after a short break, and we'll talk about this week's opponent, the Wheeling Park Patriots.
Jason walks like he's 75 years old.
Got a sidewalk that needs replaced, or maybe your roof is leaking? How about some new windows? Who do you call? Fort Steuben Maintenance, that's who. Commercial or residential, they can handle most any project, big or small. They also do new construction and renovations. So get a free estimate by calling Fort Steuben Maintenance today and get them started on your next project. 740-283-4890 for Fort Steuben Maintenance.
On and off the court, we're focused on creating lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. More college athletes are earning degrees than ever before, but we've still got work to do. That's why we're raising the bar for incoming freshmen, so they're prepared when they get to campus, and why teams can't play in championships unless they make the grade. Education matters, and putting academics first creates a pathway to a lifetime of opportunity.
You know, Fort Steuben Maintenance should be your first choice when it comes to any and all construction projects, whether it's commercial or residential. Make Fort Steuben Maintenance your first call. You can rely on them to be the experts when it comes to roofing, concrete, plumbing, carpentry, just about any job that needs done. Fort Steuben Maintenance, they're fully licensed and bonded and will even give you a free estimate. Fort Steuben Maintenance. You want the number? 740-283-4890. The Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show can be heard each and every Wednesday starting at 6 o'clock live from the Spot Bar in Steubenville. Catch live interviews with coaches from your high school football team who will discuss opponents, strategies, players, and more.
This high school event is brought to you by AT&T on Sunset via the AT&T Wireless Network. Remember, don't text and drive, it can wait. AT&T on Sunset is a proud sponsor of this high school event.
In a time of crisis, Apollo cares. At Apollo Pro Cleaning and Restoration, your health and safety is our top priority. Equipped to disinfect your home or facility with our award-winning Apollo 360 electrostatic disinfection process. Residential properties, offices, schools, retail spaces, factories, medical facilities, restaurants, transportation, and more. Apollo is here to help you combat the spread of COVID. Contact us today to find out how we can help serve you.
Clean floor to ceiling, Apollo Pro Cleaning is the meaning of cleaning.
Got a sidewalk that needs replaced, or maybe your roof is leaking? How about some new windows? Who do you call? Fort Steuben Maintenance, that's who. Commercial or residential, they can handle most any project, big or small. They also do new construction and renovations. So get a free estimate by calling Fort Steuben Maintenance today and get them started on your next project. 740-283-4890 for Fort Steuben Maintenance.
Welcome back here at Pennington's. We're here with Steubenville Big Red head football coach Reno Suckots. Coach, we're going to get into this week's opponent. I know they're coming in, 3-1 because they're a week behind you guys. I know they're coming off a big win last week against University. It looks like they score a lot of points.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
They're a week behind us, but when we were in school in the 60s, they were a week ahead of us.
Yeah.
But, they really put it on University. And they're very explosive. I mean, they're like the old Dover teams. You can hold them for 50 plays and they're going to score on 4, and there's 28 points up on the board. But they're an explosive team. 2 deep at quarterback, 4 deep in the receivers. Their starter, their number 68, I can't remember his name. That's embarrassing. He's back from last year offensively. Their offense gets a lot of ink, but they have a couple of kids on defense, 51 and 6, and I mean they get after it, and I just think that their defense is not quite as probably covered with ink like the offense is, but the defense does a really good job.
we've been playing. Big Red's been playing stout defense this year. Kids are playing hard, getting to the ball. But as I remember last year against Park, the receiver's the big threat. I mean, I think Park played hard and was very, very aggressive with us. But this receiver got open, and I personally think he'll get open. I think the challenge will be like getting him on the ground.
Well, the Park really had a miserable year last year as far as COVID and teams canceling on. They had a really good football team, and they didn't get to show it, through the whole year. And now they're going to get to show what they do. But number 4 gets a lot of ink, but the quarterback makes him go. And Hawkins is a very good player, but if you look at numbers, it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the 5 guys that you got to get after offensively. But like I said, their offense gets a lot of ink, and their offense is good, and their offense is deserving, but their defense is very underrated.
Phillips, the quarterback, he's a coach on the field, and he's the son of a coach.
And his brother's his position coach. I mean, the Phillips, they're good players, not just football. They're good athletes. Coach Phillips does a great job with defense. He was a defensive coordinator at West Liberty. He's doing a really good job at Wheeling Park now. His son, the quarterback then before, is now, coaching the second boy, and they got Aiden Davis behind them. So that they're lined up for quarterback for the next few years, and but they run the ball good. They're a solid football team that can be very explosive. There's solid teams that I consider us a solid team, but not an explosive team. They're a solid team that can score in one play. I mean, you can throw a 1-yard pass, and Hawkins can take it the distance. So, we have to be really on our toes, and we have to be able to get to them with 3 guys.
I like the analogy what you said. You can stop them for 40, and then 4 plays they're up 20. You get
like
28
Dover.
points.
I mean, they're like Dover used to be. You hold Dover, you hold Youngstown, Cheney, and all of a sudden, they got the athletes that can go the distance, and that's a big plus. I mean, it's so important. Explosive plays. That's probably one of the major colleges in pro football, offensively and defensively. They count explosive plays of 15 or more by the pass, 10 or more by the run, and they actually put that into their game plans. How they have to defend, just a 2-yard pass going into a 15-yard pass. So it's really you have to surround that ball, and one guy is not going to bring him down.
You talked about Phillips. I remember last year's game. I thought, being on the field, watching the game from the field, you guys hit that Phillips kid with everything you had in the first half, and that kid just kept getting up.
He kept laughing.
And just kept getting back in the huddle, and he just kept coming and coming. Because when Brandon got home, I go, how did that? He said he just got up and didn't say nothing, went right back to the huddle. He just seems like a really, really tough kid.
So, like I said, they're solid.
Yeah.
They're solid. Coach Daugherty does a great job, and I think they've had a couple really, really good coaches, but he's a good recruiting coach.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets the kids to play track, to play basketball. He gets them to play football, and that didn't happen very often at Wheeling Park, and it's happening now, and credit to him.
Yeah, I like their schedule, too. They played a big team from Ohio early, right? That's a team you guys
St.
played.
Joe's.
You guys played them in the playoffs in like 89, I think?
89.
Yeah. And they're the Division 5 team now. It looks like they were putting up points since that team just put up 50 on them,
Well, Park was winning 28-27 at the half. And that game was just a game of 2 halves. And it wasn't a whole halftime a bad game of Wheeling Park. They just had a couple bad plays, and St. Joe's has a couple really good players. So
St. Joe's, the '89 team, we played them in the Rubber Bowl.
They had Tony Miller.
They had Tony Miller. Went to Marquette.
They won the state championship that year, and Tony Miller was a junior, and he committed to Marquette and didn't play as a senior quarterback. He just played basketball. But and the year before he played, and that's where the big forward from Ohio State, that set a record 53 points in the state finals.
Oh man,
You know what I mean?
I know who you're talking about. I
Yeah.
just can't think of his name right off the top of my head.
That's where he played basketball.
Well, Marquette's pretty good. That was I remember that game in '89. It was pretty cold, but
We had a sack on the 3-yard line on third down. We had a sack fumble that George Vudagrovic caused a sack and the fumble. We recovered the fumble on the 3, and they called him for a face mask and gave him an automatic first down. That was the first series. So I would tell everybody if we'd have got that fumble,
well,
we'd
you
have won the game.
you'd have won the game. That's the way to do it.
But we won. We lost 19-0.
Well, what part going to do defensively to give your offense problems? Because your offense has been clicking pretty well.
They're gonna do what they do. I mean, they're not going to change. They had a good game plan against us last year, and at one time they were winning 16-7, I believe, and or 16-6, 16. They were winning 16-12 at one time, and in the second half. So I mean, their defense is good, and it's gonna be a game just like last week. This will be a Dover game that, but they run it and pass it. So we'll have to be. They make you defend 100 yards long and 52 yards wide. So, that's the name of that tune.
Yeah, it's another big school point game. I know you don't talk about points, but it's another game that if you can get underneath your belt, it's going to help you later down the road.
Well, the win will help you later down the road. So.
It's a good game, Coach.
Yeah, it's a game that should be played every year.
Yeah, and I'm happy that Big Red does play there.
Yeah. So am I. I think there's just certain games that should be played in the Valley, and for one reason or another, you can't get the schedule together, you can't hook up, or you don't have the same open date. But we're able to do it for the next couple of years. So hopefully it goes on for a while.
And then. Just a little bit more talking about Park's special teams. How was their special teams? I know we faced Dover last week.
They have a good kicker. I mean, their kicker, he's put 4 or 5 in the end zone already, and he does a good job. And their punter averages about 33 yards a punt, so he punts it deep enough where you have an exchange. And there's times where they do rugby. There's times where they do regular. They just against St. Joe's, I believe. I can't remember which game I've watched so many of them. They ran a fake punt for 70 yards and a touchdown. The quarterbacks is the punter. Both quarterbacks, 3 and 10, are the punters. And he went 60-some yards for a touchdown on a fake punt. So, it's got to be a defensive play for us.
And I know we talked off air health-wise after the game. All good for Friday?
Yeah, we were a little bit banged up. But, we go swimming on Saturday morning. That takes care of half of it. Then, lifting Monday through Thursday takes care of the rest of it. But when you have a game like that, you're going to have some soreness, and right now you got to get used to it because you're going to be sore the rest of the year. I don't think there's a good football player playing at any level that isn't sore after 5 games. Basketball, the only thing you get sore is your arm when you shot all the time. So you had a sore arm once the season started, but.
Well, you said it right. You said you were sore watching the game. That game Friday night was physical. I mean, it was. I mean, being down on the sideline, there was some hitting going on. I mean, it was a really, really good high school football game, and I believe that this Friday coming is going to be not the same type of game, but it's going to be a really, really good football game. You might want to tell one of your assistant coaches to quit headbutting people. You got your defensive guy. What, the wrestling coach? What's his name?
He had done it another coach.
No, he headbutted the helmet. I was there. He headbutted him, cut himself right here. He was fired up coming out.
Good. That's what happens when you play at Oakland and West Liberty.
All right. Well, Coach, we'll let you go. Hopefully you'll be 6-0 after Friday, and we'll be back here Wednesday talking about another Steubenville Big Red victory.
Thank you, man. Thanks a lot,
And then good luck, Coach. And tonight's show was brought to you by Fort Steuben Maintenance. We'll be right back with Coach Andrew Connor from Minnie Creek.
We don't give Mr. Saltzman enough credit, but he took care of our locker room, and he put a brand new shower in and bathroom and stuff like that, and he really took care of us. We really appreciate Mr. Saltzman.
He's doing a good job up at the field, too. All right, we'll be right back with Coach Andrew Connor.
You know, Fort Steuben Maintenance should be your first choice when it comes to any and all construction projects, whether it's commercial or residential. Make Fort Steuben Maintenance your first call. You can rely on them to be the experts when it comes to roofing, concrete, plumbing, carpentry, just about any job that needs done. Fort Steuben Maintenance, they're fully licensed and bonded and will even give you a free estimate. Fort Steuben Maintenance. You want the number? 740-283-4890. The Isla Law Office, with 25 plus years of experience, specializes in bankruptcy and domestic relation cases. They're hands-on. They're very thorough and focused on your needs, and they're licensed in Ohio and West Virginia. If you need expert legal assistance, look up Isla Law Offices at islalawoffices.com. Thanks, Isla Law, for being a proud sponsor of this broadcast.
Are you struggling to deal with unwanted pests inside, around your home or business? Call the JC Pest Control Service. For over 30 years, we've been providing commercial and residential, environmentally friendly pest control solutions for your family and pets. Our professionally trained technicians can rid your home or business of wildlife, bedbugs, and rodents. And our prices can't be beat. Call JC Pest Control to remove your unwanted pests.
Everhart Bove Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bove ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bove Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bove Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds. Do you have a fence that has seen better days? How about a new privacy fence? You probably could use a perimeter fence to keep Fido from wandering off. Call Edwards Fence Company now. They do all types of fence projects and have over 20 years of experience. Wood, chain link, vinyl, split rail, aluminum. Call today for a free estimate. Edwards Fence Company, 740-632-8403. Needless to say, you're going to need a new fence around your new swimming pool too. Call Edwards Fence Company today, a proud sponsor of this broadcast.
This is Ohio Valley Sports Online, your connection to Ohio Valley Sports.
I was
Listen
there
anywhere
for
in the
12
world
years.
from any connected device,
8th grade.
smartphone, tablets, iPads, and computers. Ohio Valley Sports Online brings you live game action from the guys with over 50 years in radio sports broadcasting.
Play nobody knows.
Welcome back. We're here at Bennigan's. We're here with Indian Creek's head football coach, Andrew Connor. This spot is sponsored by Everhart Bove Funeral Home. Well, Coach, you were just telling us a little story up 21-20, second quarter, third quarter, and then you get a penalty, and then boom, they go down to score. And sounds like same thing that happens in most high school games. The momentum goes down, you just couldn't break it.
No, I mean, we fought. I mean, I think our kids played hard. We had kind of prepared for number 32 and 22 to play quarterback, and in their opening game, Utica, number 2, their senior quarterback, played, and he did really well. They beat Centerburg. Centerburg was undefeated, minus that, so they were 3-1, and he got hurt, and then he returned this week for our game, and it kind of threw off a little bit of what we were going to do defensively, but they played well and played hard, and we thought we did too. And we got in the fourth quarter, and like I said, it was 21-20, and things just didn't work out for us in the fourth quarter.
Well, go through a little bit of the first half. Tell us how it went down, because we couldn't listen to it or see it, so we're gonna.
Well, I mean, they went down and they scored on the first possession. We had a coverage blown coverage, and they scored 3 plays into the game, and then we kind of buckled down on defense, and we ended up getting a pick 6. They were driving, and our DB stepped in front, took it back for a touchdown. We were able to stop in the next 3 series. Our offense got the ball, went down and scored. And we were ahead 12-7, and we gave up a touchdown on a fake field goal with 5 seconds to go in the second quarter, and that really was a tough one. I mean, we were up 12-7. They ended up getting the fake field goal. They score, make it 14-7. They scored in the third quarter. We scored, make it 21-20. I thought we had momentum on our side. We had just moved the ball, and then defensively we had them on a third and long, and we had a penalty, and that penalty kind of tilted the game in their direction. They were down and scored, and we just, turned the ball over a couple times in a row, and we couldn't get any kind of sudden change defense out of it. They kind of scored off it, and we played hard. We just just some mistakes in that fourth quarter. If we could have it over again, I mean, that's just they were kind of heartbreaking mistakes because kids really played hard, and I thought that they played well enough to win, and we can't get over the hump.
I like that though what you just said, Coach. That they're because we talked earlier. I know you're playing some young kids, and they're still playing hard, and they're playing hard enough to win, getting over that hump. Are you guys getting better?
I'll be honest with you. We did a little retrospection this week, and I think Monday we watched films, and I think we had a little heart-to-heart, and then Tuesday we went a little old school. We hit for a couple hours. A lot of schools only wear helmets or shoulder pads. We went live. I mean, we went full gear. We did a little Oklahomas, a little bit of goal line, and
I like that.
And I thought we need to get in touch.
How'd they respond?
They did well. They were screaming and hollering, and they saw what was up on the board, and they went out and they played hard. And I think today was the day you kind of judge on who we are as a team, because this would have been the day where everybody says my elbow hurts or my leg hurts, and we had full attendance at practice. Everybody practiced and participated yesterday, and I don't know if it's one of those moments we'll look back on where we could say this was a rallying point for us or not, but I really respect how hard they played yesterday at practice. And I had a guy walking on the track, and he had told me that he's been around here for years and years, and he said, Coach, if that's how hard your kids will practice on a Tuesday after coming off a loss, being 1 of 4, he said, you got a special group of kids, Coach.
There you go.
So I'm hoping that is going to be something that will propel us into Saturday's game against Belair, that we'll go down, we'll play physical and play tough, and make it a 48-minute contest. We're going to go down and really test Belair's toughness. That's what we're going to try to do.
Well, we were talking about young teams, and it's tough to coach youth sometimes, but how do you keep your young kids in mind with seniors that you're playing, that we got to work them all in together just so we can get over the hump. You got seniors playing their last year, and you got a lot of sophomores and freshmen playing, saying, well, maybe we can go look somewhere else,
Well, the one thing we told our kids, and I don't want to hear this stuff, is, wait till next year.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing you don't want to hear your freshmen and sophomores say, because I said it's not fair to our senior class to say, wait till next year. So, I think, it was one of those moments. I was getting nervous. Now, like after the game, I could see real emotion in our kids, and, they were really upset about what had happened, and, and it makes you feel good as a coach to see emotion, and number two, to see how many guys came up to me and said, Coach, this is on me, or I'm sorry, Coach, we got to do better. So I felt like the kids were all in on where we were at. And then when I told them on Tuesday, we're going back to, 2003 when I took this job, and how much we hit during the week. We've, like most schools now, have kind of cut back on all the contact and everything else. And, none of the kids didn't come to practice. None of the kids didn't argue about it. None of the kids, when we were doing all the drills, they were jumping in.
Mm-hmm.
They were calling each other out. They were being excited. So, I feel like right where we're at right now is, a lot of teams may have said, we're 1 and 4. There's nothing really to go for here. And that's not what I felt today or yesterday. I felt like our kids are still all in. They're still listening. They're still trying to get better. And I told the kids, as long as we keep doing that, as long as I see the coaches coaching as hard as they did yesterday, I mean, our coaches were hollering, and they were running around, and they were trying to, as long as that's our effort, I told them I can live with the results.
Yeah.
I just don't want us to ever do anything where if you're in the stands, you say, I don't know if they really want to be there. That's what I don't want. That I can live with everything else but that. That's the one thing that, being here as long as I've been, I can't live with that. That's the moment I can't live with.
Well, I got a lot of respect for that, Coach, for you and your kids, to continue play, because it's the seniors' last season. And on a personal note, I mean, like, people say it, but I mean it. I mean, you remember your senior year. I mean, we got our 50-year anniversary graduation this year. And I remember, play. So I'm glad to hear. That's good stuff to hear that the seniors are getting their due and their worth, and the young kids are helping them, and everybody's going to get better. And sometimes I think in your case it pertains the record doesn't indicate, how you guys are playing. Every week we talk to you, and, you're in every game with a chance to win, and things don't go your way. So after 5 games, you're looking to get over the hump, and I commend you and your team for that.
I appreciate that. But like I said, the biggest thing for us is, I told the kids, there's nothing more important to me than our brand, our program, since I've taken the job. And I told them, that's one of the things that I'm most proud of. Each group that has played for me has felt the same way. They felt like there was something special about walking in our locker room, something special about wearing the IC. All of my coaches except one have played at Indian Creek.
I love it.
And so all of them but one have played for me. And, and they talked about that on Monday when we had our meeting after the films. What does it mean to be an Indian Creek football player? And each school has their own traditions, their own, mystique, prestige, whatever you want to call it. And I told our kids, that's something you represent. I mean, there are kids that have played 25, 30 years ago. They still remember, like you said,
absolutely,
what they did when they were wearing that jersey. And I said, you have to respect that. So, this week we went back and we said, hey, what do we got to do to make us better? We thought that our Tuesday practice, we had to show that we could ramp it up. And most schools, like I said, they don't do that during the week. Most schools now are just in helmets or shoulder pads, and I was really, really proud of how hard we practiced for that 2 hours. We didn't do anything other than scrimmage and get better at our drills. We didn't worry about game planning. We just worried about Indian Creek and worried about our kids getting better at what we need to get better at. I thought linebackers feel better. Linemen got off the ball better. I mean, we pushed the sled. We did all the things that you're supposed to do if you want to keep getting better. And that was that to me, that tells a group of kids that still understand what it takes to win.
That's the nuts and bolts of it, Coach.
That's the key, getting back to old school football. When 25 years ago on Tuesday, you knew what you were doing. You were getting your head kicked in on Tuesday, and Wednesday you were still hitting on Wednesday, and Thursday was walkthrough. But, it seems like like we talk about all the time, you just get to get a break once in a while and get a win, and then that would really, I think, turn it for your young kids to go, now we can see. This is what work does. It gets us to the next level, and I agree with what Raymond says. I remember my senior year, like in every sport, you don't ever want it to end because you can never go back. So I think that you're doing it good. Like I said, we did your East Liverpool game. I thought your offensive line did well. I thought your tailback ran hard. I think you guys played really, really hard. Just a lot of young mistakes. You're going to get that with a young football team.
And that's what I told the kids. I also told them, we're 5 games in, and we don't talk about it other than like when I'm out. I told the kids, everything that you do now, you either find a way to succeed or find a way to excuse why we don't do well. And I told them, we got to get over that hump too. No more talking about why we're not doing it. We got to do it. And we've worked really hard the last 2 days, yesterday and today, at trying to get ourselves, in the position that we can to make sure we play hard enough and we do the right things to put ourselves in the right position to win a football game. And, I told them, you keep working hard, good things happen. I truly believe for people that work hard and do the right thing, there is such a thing as, a karma, and good things will happen for you. And I told our kids, they just got to keep working hard and believe in that. And at some point, it will pay off. I mean, I know it doesn't feel good right now, but I told them, there's 2 ways to go, and too many people do the opposite way. Things get tough, you take the easy way out and blame other people or quit. Yeah. I told our guys we're not going to do that. No matter what happens this year, we're going to keep moving forward, keep getting better, keep working ourselves, and keep cheering for ourselves, even if it's just us. I told them at the end, if it's just us, if the only people that show up at a football game that's wearing red and gold is our football team, then so be it. That's all we need.
Amen
we just need
that.
Our group of kids to keep believing in themselves, not point fingers, and realize we lose together, we win together, and that's what people don't do today. They don't take responsibility for what they do. And it rests with me. I told the kids, it starts with me. Yeah. This whole 1-4 start falls at the head football coach. But I'm doing my best, I told them, to put us in the right position. I need them to do the same thing. And, we're going to do this together, and we're going to get over this hump.
That's good stuff, Coach. Good talking to you, brother.
I like that. We're going to take our first break here with Andrew Connor, Indian Creek's head football coach. We'll come back, and we'll talk about this week's opponent, the Bel Air Big Reds. This sponsored is by Everhart Bow Funeral Home.
Everhart Bow Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bow ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bow Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bow Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds.
On and off the court, we're focused on creating lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. More college athletes are earning degrees than ever before, but we've still got work to do. That's why we're raising the bar for incoming freshmen, so they're prepared when they get to campus, and why teams can't play in championships unless they make the grade. Education matters, and putting academics first creates a pathway to a lifetime of opportunity.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Well, we're back here with head football coach Andrew Connor from Indian Creek High School. Coach, got a tough opponent this week, the Bel Air Big Reds, 2-3, but I was looking at their schedule. They play a pretty daunting schedule, Fort Fry, first game Garaway, second game Wheeling Central, and Cambridge, you know. So and a lot of people have told me down at work, he says, well, if I'm picking a team in third or fourth in the Valley, Bel Air's a pretty good football team, they said, if you put them behind a couple other teams. So they got a lot of talent down there. Can you tell us what they're going to do to you?
They do. We went down and saw them in person when they played Fort Fry, and then we've seen them on film twice the last 2 weeks when they played Cambridge, who's a common opponent because we played Cambridge in game one, and they also played Wheeling Central. And Wheeling Central does a little bit of the stuff we do on offense with, pulling guards and buck sweep. And when you look at them defensively, they do a lot of the same stuff we do. They're in a, they're in a 4-3. They like to do the same kind of things we do, blitz a little bit, play some zone. When you look at them offensively, they've been kind of a tale of two cities here. When they played, Wheeling Central, they did a lot of things where they try to get to the outside, a lot of stretch plays, and they do a lot of things formational-wise where they'll bring a tackle over and try to catch you, maybe overcompensating and maybe free up a tight end on the backside. But then last week when they played Cambridge, man, they got into a groove in the second half where they were going kind of an unbalanced line to the right, power eye to the left, and they really ran the football. And they have some talented kids. Their quarterback's very talented. They may have the fastest wide out in the Valley, in that Ray McGrew and Graw. And, they're going to present a lot of problems for us. I mean, they are. And, I think our kids understand that. We've been practicing going over the things. And, I don't want to make it more complicated than it has to be. I think, one of our things is we just got to be fundamentally sound. I think we did a better job last week out at Utica, taking away sweeps. A lot of teams have been trying to get to our outside, and I think we've struggled with that a little bit inconsistency-wise, but I thought we did better with that. And I thought our tackling was a little bit better last week, but still not where we want it to be. And, offensively, the same thing. I think we had a couple turnovers, early in the third quarter that really kind of, did us in, on both sides of the ball. But, I think for us, we got to play a clean game. We can't turn the ball over. We need to get a couple turnovers. And, I know people talk about, staying in front of the chains, but for us it's important. I mean, we want to run the football, and it's hard to run if it's 2nd and 13. And, we want to do well on first down defensively. And, the one thing that still has bothered me consistently is, what we do on third down defensively. We do well on first down, we do well on second down, and then, third down somehow, we give up a big play, whether it is passing, running, we don't keep contained. And, that's the thing we've been trying to stress this week. You do a good job on first down, you do a good job on second down, reward yourselves, get off the field, and don't make this longer than it had to be. And I think we've done really well in the first half of our games. We have struggled a lot in the second half of our games defensively, and so that is something we've been trying to push our kids. And I think that yesterday going so much live, we're trying to build up our kids' stamina to be able to play with the same intensity in the first half as we do the second half.
Well, we get to talk off air, Coach, and you just said something that made me think about that you are building, that you're a better football team in the first half than you are in the second half, and your team is growing. So you told me that, we knew you had 5 underclassmen playing, and Bel Air's a junior, senior team, and it's hard to look at your kids anymore. They got to understand that they're 5 games in.
Correct.
They're not freshmen and sophomores anymore. So that's a mental block for them too to achieve.
Well, and here's the thing, I've thought about it too. In my opinion, yes, we keep telling our kids you got to grow up and move on, and you're 5 games in. Sometimes it's just the, you try to put concepts in because you want to match somebody else's concepts, and then you as a coach have to remember, do you want them to try to mentally beat the other team, or do you want them to physically beat the other team? And so, we've tried this week to really go back and try to simplify the things we do so that our kids can really focus in on the task at hand, which is, coming downfield, coming down, defensively or offensively, knowing where you're going. So there's no, we don't want our kids, it's already tough enough when you're young.
They don't think too much.
Yeah, you don't want to be apprehensive on that part too. You may be a little apprehensive because you're just apprehensive because you're young. We don't want to add on to it as a coaching staff. So we said, hey, this is a few things we do well. I'd rather see us do those things well, and then if it doesn't work out because maybe the other team has done a few more things schematically against us, then we got to live with it. But, what I want to do, and I told the kids, I want to see you just play. Don't think about it, just play. Play on both sides of the football. Enjoy yourselves as much as you did Tuesday. I mean, I said if we could take our Tuesday practice and plug that in, that's how we need to play. And there wasn't a lot of thinking on Tuesday. It was more about playing football. So, maybe, in our game planning right now, maybe that will help us on Saturday. Cut the playbook back, cut the defensive playbook back, and just go play Indian Creek football. Play physical, play aggressive. And I told the kids, my thing is if you're in the wrong hole and you're going 100 miles an hour, if you blitz the wrong place, but you're going 100 miles an hour, guys, I can live with that watching that on film because that means, we got a tough team that's playing hard. I said what I can't have is you go half into the hole, you're not sure you should have went, then you stop. Well, now, if you screwed up, not only did you screw up the blitz, you didn't come on the blitz. So now we're stuck in like this no man's land. So I think we've been stressing to our kids, listen, it's okay to make an aggressive mistake. That's something we can grow with and get better with. We can't live with the passive ones where we're so nervous to make the mistake that we still make a mistake and we're not going hard. So I think that's something we've been stressing. I think the kids have gotten a little bit better with it the last couple of days that, hey, just go, just play. I mean, just let's go have fun. And, I told him there isn't a soul in the Ohio Valley that thinks she has a chance to win on Saturday. So you're playing with house money. Go down and just play like I know we can. We've been in ball games. Let's force this thing into the fourth quarter and see what happens.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. Get into the fourth quarter. Now, I know just reading what Bel Air does is the Hetherington kids, he's one that stirs the pot for Bel Air.
He does. He's very athletic, and, he can run. And he does well. One of the things that you admire with high school quarterbacks is their movement in the pocket. Do they move in the pocket to try to get away from somebody, or they move into the pocket because they still want to try to hit a big play? He's the guy that's moving in the pocket because he's still thinking, downfield. I can make something happen here. Yeah. So, and that's what you get. He's been playing for 3 years. That's what you assume you're going to get with your senior quarterback, and he does. And, he's got a lot of guys around him that, have been on this team now for 2 or 3 years, and this is kind of the end of that group that's been playing for 3 years together. So, they've got a lot of reps. They've won a lot of games, and and I think Coach has done a good job in his first year, and we need to match that. The one thing I want, if there's anything I can judge this football program on, is whether or not we're going to go kind of step for step, play for play with the intensity that I know Blair's going to play with. If we can do that, I can live with the outcome. I told our kids, you just got to make sure that we're taking no plays off. You don't want to catch yourself on film being the guy who isn't hustling the ball on either side of the ball.
Yeah.
If they end up, if it doesn't turn out the way we want, but we're playing like that, hey, that means we're getting better. That's our biggest thing. We just want to keep getting better week in and week out.
Does the extra day help after a Friday? Does it?
Well, it helped. It probably helped us a little bit in the fact that we got back so late from Utica.
Yeah.
So we got back, 2:00 in the morning, 2:15. So, having Monday to kind of focus in on films, which we would have done on Saturday, that helped a lot. And then, I'm not a weatherman, but I looked at the weather, and a lot of times you go to Blair and it's 88 degrees, and I think everybody who's played in Blair has had a day where they remember where it was the bees were out and it was 100 degrees, and it's supposed to be 62 or something.
Yeah.
So that'll help us too, I think.
Yeah, I think the hottest day is today, and that's it. I think we're in the 60s the rest of the week. That does help. And then going on grass. Bell.
Well, here's the thing. We just played on grass. So if there's ever a time when you want to do it, we just played on grass at, Utica. They were a grass field. So, there's no excuses there. We just played a game on it. So we should be ready to go playing on grass.
Well, if the weather favors you, that's a start, Coach.
I take anything I can right now. Like I told our kids, we got to get out of the negativity mode that, sometimes surrounds a program. And I told him you got to kind of shut out everything else and start looking at positives. So we had a good positive practice on Tuesday. I thought our kids responded well today. I told them we got to start living in positive. We can't live in this negativity that, kind of surrounds everybody on whose fault it is or whatever. I told them, you got one easy blame. Blame the head football coach. You guys just push each other and get better. Don't blame each other for anything.
But it sounds like, which is the norm for this area as far as that goes, you're circling the wagons and you're keeping your team inside that, and it's only what you guys are doing. And it sounds like your kids are responding and keeping the negativity out.
They are. I told them
positive vibes to the game.
The biggest thing is don't start being a kid that wants to look outward instead of inward. When you're not doing well as a football team, you are a team. That's what football is. Football is the ultimate team sport. And to me, always look inward. Don't look outward. Don't try to push blame on someone else because, when you're 1-4, it's a collective group. It's not, hey, we got 9 guys playing great ball and 2 aren't, and that's the reason we are. I mean, football is a team sport. You win together, you lose together. And I told our kids that's part of, character and dealing with adversity is don't be the guy that rattles the ship. Be the guy that you can count on and trust in bad times because there are going to be good times coming. And you want to be the guy that people say, hey, I'm rooting for him because he was there and he stood by when things weren't going well. Don't be the guy that's, pointing the finger. And I always tell them, hey, you point that finger, remember, 3 are coming right back at you. So,
Amen.
I agree with what you said. It seems like I had some great high school coaches in my career, one sitting to your left and the other one's a baseball coach. They always told me, don't lose a football game at the dining table or at a restaurant or somebody telling you what you're doing. When you're at practice, that's your family. That's your family. You got an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and a half, however long you go.
Well, don't start that stuff because my kids are going to start saying, what is he talking about? That guy goes for 2.5 hours. Oh, easy.
But that's 2 hours.
Don't put me in a thing like that.
That's 2 hours that you got. That's your family there to try to win football games or any sport you play, and you want to keep it in-house. I get it. I always tell people this when I like he said, at Honest Valley, you're expected to win. That's how it is. And then I used to tell people in the stands, I swear to you, the coach down there, he's not preparing all week to lose. I promise you, he's not making up plays to lose yards.
My thing
Never met a coach that wanted to lose. Man.
Well, but I've told the kids and everybody else, I'd rather. I don't care if people are in the stands taking shots at me. That's okay. That comes with the territory, and if you couldn't do it, you shouldn't take the job.
Big money,
I do. I get all the shoe contracts and everything else. But I've always said the one thing I don't want. And I've even told our parents this. You can holler at me and say things about me, but I just don't get, and I mean this sincerely, in all the sports, I don't get the hollering at the kid thing. I mean, kids that
brutal, man.
Kids are playing sports at any school, at any level, boys or girls. They give up so much of their time in a society where people don't do that. And for people to be rooting against kids or saying stuff about kids, I mean, these are kids playing for the pride of their school. This isn't pros where you can say whatever you want about pro. They're getting paid
big money.
Way more money than we are. So you could say what you want, but to me, like I've said before, you can say it about me because it's not going to hurt my feelings. And, I go home and my dog still speaks to me, so I'm good. But, for
Does
me,
your furniture,
Huh?
does your furniture talk to you?
well, a lot of things talk to me now. But my thing is, just stick together. Don't be that person that tears away the kids. That's the biggest thing for me. You can take shots at me or my staff, but
But you know
be
what,
positive.
Coach? You said something really nice in regards to our conversation. We all here believe and know that mistakes are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to happen. They are kids, and anybody that gets on a kid, is at the game for the wrong reason. But if mistakes are going to happen, make him aggressive.
That's what I told him. I said,
make him aggressive.
Make him
man.
something where you're watching and I say, hey, listen, you went to the wrong place. But, man, did you hit that kid?
Yes,
man,
that's
did you
exactly
finish that
right.
play? I said, because that saves the mistake.
Yeah.
The mistake's worse when I say, where are you going and what are you doing, because you're not going hard. Don't have that part. I said, that's the part that, when I played, I didn't want that part. When you were watching films, you didn't want your coach to say, hey, you're not going hard. That's the thing.
Film don't lie.
We say that all the time. Film
don't
never,
lie.
ever lies. I mean, that's the great thing about it.
All right, Coach, we'll let you go. We hope we're talking to you next Wednesday. We're defeating the Bel Air Big Reds. Good luck Saturday.
Thanks, buddy.
Hope we'll see you next
Good luck
Wednesday with a win.
next Wednesday if you're coaching that 8th grade team.
Well, maybe I'll be up in that weird hot. Maybe we'll do that thing again. So
We'll
All right,
take a
brother.
short break, and we'll be back with Toronto's head football coach, Josh Frankie. The Indian Creek broadcast was brought to you by Everhart Bove Funeral Home.
Everhart Bove Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bove ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bove Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bove Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds.
Meet Josh.
Hi, everybody.
Josh is a high school basketball player, solid shooter, great teammate,
Hey, don't forget my Tenacious D.
and he's my son.
Oh,
So, what does Josh do to be the best basketball player he can be?
I play tennis.
Studies show that student athletes here in Ohio who play more than one high school sport are more likely to excel. Tennis does more than improve Josh's conditioning. It gives him a fresh competitive outlet, reduces the risk of injury by cross-training, and introduces him to different coaching techniques and new friends.
Don't get me wrong, hoops are my first love. Tennis just gives me a little break.
So when the new season begins, Josh isn't burned out on basketball. He's eager to play. And you can see the difference in his game.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs. and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show.
Thanks, Everhard Bow Funeral Home, for sponsoring Indian Creek head coach Andrew Connor on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show.
Serving the Ohio Valley for over 50 years.
This broadcast is sponsored by Lancia Healthcare, specializing in skilled care, rehabilitation, and transitional care. They have 3 locations to serve you or a loved one: the Villa Royale or Villa Vista in Steubenville and the Belmont Manor in St. Clairsville. Lancia Healthcare is a proud sponsor of this broadcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to Bennigan's Restaurant with the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Shows. Jim Huggins along with Jason Jenkins, Dan Vogel, and I want to thank Ray Suckoch and Billy Ellis for our first 2 interviews with Big Red head coach Reno Suckoch and Andrew Connor of Indian Creek. Now we're joined by Josh Frankie, the head coach of the Toronto Red Knights, who came in ranked in the top 10 in the state, undefeated, but Oak Glen came in there and down to Clark Hinkle Field, and not the kind of not the way you wanted things to go, was it?
No, they listen. You just, I guess first off, you got to give, you got to tip your hat to Glenn. I mean, they came out inspired. They clearly wanted that game more than we did, and they played like it. I mean, I think Oak Glen was a lot better than a lot of people believe them to be. They played some really good opponents up to us, and and they just kind of shocked us a little bit. I know they had some kids that were injured that they got back and were healthy for our game. I think that made a little bit of a difference. But our kids also overlook them. I think, we talked all week about, hey, guys, this is a trap game. You're coming off a big win against Buckeye Local. You got an 0-3 team coming in, and then next week you have a rival game, and they're undefeated. And, we told them it's a trap game. They better be ready. And they did not. The same team that came out of the locker room last Friday was not the same team that came out the previous Friday against Buckeye Local.
Big plays. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, big plays are devastating.
Sure.
They had a 50-something yard run, a 81-yard interception return, a 68-yard run, and that insult to injury, they kicked a field goal, which hardly anybody seems to.
Kicked 2 field goals.
So hardly anybody kicks field goals anymore.
Listen, and those 2 field goals those were important things because when we finally did score, we were still 3 touchdowns out of the lead rather than being 2. So, and that makes a big difference. Listen, we talk every week big plays and turnovers. I would have to look in to see how accurate this stat was, but our statistician told us that Oak Glen only had 2 first downs the entire game.
Wow.
They had 2 large runs. They had the interception return for a kickoff. We had a botched punt deep in our territory that they ended up kicking a field goal on, and they ended up kicking another field goal. So, at the end of the day, our defense played pretty good outside of 2 long run plays that they ended up breaking off. And then, our offense just could not get things going. I mean, it was at one point it was 8-0. We had the ball on their 3-yard line. We were about ready to score. Botched snap goes, right through the quarterback's hands, flies back, 10, 15 yards. And, we were driving again. We were driving down. Zeb took off on a scrambles all the way down to the 4 or 5, and ends up there's a holding call, and we're looking at 2nd and long after that instead of being in the we were in the red zone. Our offense first half we were in the red zone 3 times, didn't score. So it's one of those things where it's just nothing seemed to go right. We had 3 interceptions that night, and it's just that stuff kills you. Literally very first play of the game we threw an interception. So from the very start, we just could not get things going our way.
Like you said, it was a perfect storm. I mean, the interception, the fumble, and the big plays, and then they get players back, that were injured. I did see that, that they're going to get some key players back, and then you lose. You're already without, your key player, and then you lose, your other key player. Just a perfect, how do you, what do you say to the kids in the locker room after?
Your season's on the line. What do you, that was the talk at halftime. Season's on the line. What are you guys going to do to respond? At that point, we were putting in our freshman quarterback. We didn't quite know what was wrong with Zeb at the time. He was hobbling around a little bit, and it was one of those things where it was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Instead of risk losing him for the entire year, he's such an important piece of the puzzle. Let's get him out of here until we know for sure what's wrong with him. Ends up he's fine. He's playing Friday, so we'll get him back. But when you listen, give Brock Hughes some credit where credit's due. That's not a tough. That's a tough position to put a freshman in going into a game when you're down 15-0 and try to rally the troops and bring people back. That's not an easy spot to be in. That's asking a lot of a freshman. But it's just one of those things. I mean, we lost our center. Our center went down in the first quarter. So it was just and again that messes up everything too, because it's the snaps and everything else. I mean, that's an important piece of the puzzle. So, again, just perfect storm. But listen, I mean, we knew these things were going to happen. We have a small roster. We knew injuries were going to happen. Kids were going to have to step up, and that was kind of the message. Like, hey, if you guys want to win this game, we need some people to step up here. And they tried. They put forth the effort, but it was just a little bit, too late.
Let me play devil's advocate here with you. You mentioned you have the ball down the 3-yard line, so I take it when you get the snap and lose that much yardage, you did it from shotgun.
Sure.
Now, a lot of people say, there's too much shotguns in games. You get down there. Any thought to that, to just going under center to minimize the amount of,
Sure. Listen,
exchange, I guess?
We have this debate. We've had this debate several times. So for us, it's a matter of personnel grouping. With Zane not playing, we're down our starting tailback, so we're playing a backup tailback already. The backup tailback that was playing is actually our fullback. So now we have no fullback. So we want to go under center with a tailback, and when you do that, you want to try to get downhill and get a lead blocker for him, but we don't have that guy.
Yeah.
So. And then to be honest with you, at 6'3", 210 pounds, our best downhill runner is the quarterback. So, you don't want to put him under center. I mean, you could try to sneak it from the 3-yard line. That's a long sneak. So it's almost better to let that kid get the snap, find his hole, and then, pick his way through there. And honestly, that's what we were doing. We were running a QB ISO off of it, and he just – he took his eyes off. I think what happened is he took his eyes off the ball. He was looking to see where the defense was coming.
Yeah, that's the bad part.
And that's where he is. But listen, as phenomenal an athlete as he is only a sophomore.
Right.
He is learning these things. And sometimes these are valuable lessons to play. But
listen, I love the shotgun.
Yeah.
I love the shotgun anytime. But there's so much that can go wrong because, as you mentioned, your quarterback's looking over the defense. Okay, what am I going to play? Do I get the right call for that? Do I need to audible out of that? And then at the same time, the centers, see, and when's he want to snap and everything, and sometimes he can snap, and we see it in the NFL. I mean, it happens,
And listen, that's one of those things that, like I said, every year that I've coached, I've been doing this as my 12th season. The past 11 years, we've always had under center formations with a fullback, and with 28 kids, we just don't with the kids that we have out right now, we don't have the personnel to do it. We went into the wishbone against Lisbon. We had it in. It was packaged in. But due to injuries and kids being out, we just don't have that personnel grouping. And listen, could we finagle a way around it? You can, but you're so limited in practice with what you're capable of doing. When you go and you want to put in a new set where maybe you're putting a lineman at fullback or something like that, you're taking time away from other things that you need to practice as well. I think people – I think people are like, oh, yeah, you can practice it, you're going to put that in. But, the days of 3-hour practices every day, I mean, those don't – that's long gone.
And with only 28 people, you got to worry more, too, about health. Other guys getting hurt, right?
Correct. Well, listen, I mean, at the end of the week, the schedule we have, the reason we play the schedule we play, and we play Oak Glen's a Division IV team by Ohio standards, and we're D7. But the reason we do that is I think teams right now, when we look at Region 25, which we're in, Division 7, Region 25, you're starting to see two different recipes take place. You're starting to see teams who are scheduling a bunch of teams that they know they can beat, so they can get, be undefeated and get in the playoffs. And then you're starting to see teams like, I'll use Lucas for example. Lucas, who are playing really tough schedules, they're going to end up being 6-4, and they might end up with the 12 or 13 seed. And this whole playoff thing with the 16 seeds, there's going to be so much discrepancy.
Change it around.
It is. There's going to be so much discrepancies that the seeding's not going to matter.
No.
I mean, you might have a 3 seed who's undefeated playing a 12 seed who's 6-4, which the 12 seed might put a smacking on them. You know what I mean?
Seen it.
I had a coach. He went. I won't mention who he is, but he went 10-0 several years ago. Didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
And he's like, I can't believe you make 10. I said, well, you don't play anybody. That's why your teams you're playing are 2-8, 1-9.
Well,
but now that's not going to matter because, I mean,
Right.
even teams that have bad record and stuff have a shot at being, 16's a lot.
Right, and I think you're going to start to see the seeding in the playoffs is going to start to be irrelevant. It's
I
not
think
going
the
to matter.
first round is going to be complete blowouts for the most part.
Well, no, because what's going to so listen, what's going to happen?
What he's just saying, Jags is right.
Is you're going to get teams that go undefeated playing bad schedules, and they're going to get a high seed, but you're going to get teams that play really difficult,
Yeah,
tough
you're right.
schedules that are going to get lower seeds, and they're going to beat up on some of these. It's going to be irrelevant. The seeds will be irrelevant until they add a strength of schedule component.
Right.
And I think you almost have to find a happy medium. You got to get some teams that you know that you can compete with and beat, but then you got to get some teams that are going to challenge you. And
Well, you know what this all comes down to. You know it. I know everybody else knows it.
Right, it's money. You're right. But, listen, at the end of the day, I want Oak Glen was a challenge to us. They gave us good competition. That's what we want.
Coach Agresta said it last year. He goes, there should be, and just what you said, this team might be 5-5 or 6-4, but they've played, teams that are 9-0, bigger than, or 10-0 that are big, and teams that are 8-2 that are big. There should be a component, like you said. Okay, we lost, but this team was Division 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I mean,
we're
here's
Division 7.
So here's a perfect example. In our region right now, you have Springfield, Middletown Springfield, who was runner-up state championship at D6 last year. They have not won a game this year. They're 0-5. I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't want to draw them first round.
Right.
They might end up being like a 15, 14 seed. I would not want to play them first round. Because they're playing a difficult, tough schedule. So that's what's going to end up happening. Is some of these teams are going to play these schedules that aren't going to prepare them for the playoffs. They're just going to be happy going undefeated and getting a home game, and then they're going to meet somebody that they really aren't prepared for.
That's like Youngstown Mooney for years.
Right.
They'd go 6-4, 5-5, sometimes even 4-6, but make the playoffs.
Correct.
Because of their strength of schedule. And these coaches will say, "Well, wait a minute, I'm 9-1, they're 4-6." But again, it's the strength of schedule did come into that factor. But for most of but your luck's going to change.
Yeah.
Because we're coming down to do the game Friday night.
Yes.
Okay.
So your luck is going to change.
All right.
I remember DeSales came. Remember one year DeSales barely got in.
Mm-hmm.
And they came to Harding Stadium as the lowest seed.
Ran all over them.
Well, listen, I mean, so that's what I guess that's to go full circle. That's the point I'm getting to is I would would going undefeated be great? Yeah, it absolutely would be. Is it great being ranked in the, in the state? Yeah, that's all fun and good as well. But at the end of the day, what does it matter? Because the playoffs start a new season. And if you aren't prepared for that postseason because you didn't play stiff enough competition, what's it matter? So I would much rather play these teams like Buckeye Local, Oak Glen, the Edisons, the Barnesvilles, who are a lot bigger than us, and be prepared going into the week 11 than not be.
No, I agree with you 100%.
Let's talk a little bit about your team defensively. I mean, it's tough to give up big plays to that and keep fighting, and then all of a sudden one either missed assignment or one missed tackle or something like that, and boom, a guy's off to the races after you bust your tail, defensively. Right. So what'd you see on film after the game, next day whenever you viewed as to what can be changed or what could have been different defensively that could have maybe stopped some of that?
I mean, just honestly, it was at times our linebackers just, they're running that double wing, and they're running the wing T and they're running the double wing. And that's a difficult offense to prepare for because you have a lot of misdirection, a lot of window dressing and fakes here, and you're handing off here, and you're going opposite direction. You really have to play disciplined in that defense when you're playing against an offense like that. And we just didn't. There was times that as good as our linebackers played, again, I'm playing 2 sophomores and a junior at our inside linebackers. see that motion, and they're going. They attack that way, and then they hit us backside. And both times, that's exactly what happened. The misdirection. We bid on the misdirection. It went opposite, and we didn't play disciplined football. And it only takes one time. It only takes one time, and they can strike and get you. And that's what the wing tee and the double wing's based off of. It's just it's going to lull you to sleep, and then all of a sudden it just takes one hit, and they got you. So.
Well, the Toronto Coaches Show is being brought to you by J.E. Foster Funeral Homes of Toronto. Let's take a time out. We come back. We'll talk to Coach Josh Franke about this week's opponent, the Edison Wildcats.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show.
Ohio Valley Sports Online is your sports authority. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Live streaming high school and NCAA sports, plus weekly football coaches shows right here on Ohio Valley Sports Online.
Meet Josh.
Hi, everybody.
Josh is a high school basketball player, solid shooter, great teammate.
Hey, don't forget my tenacious D.
And he's my son.
Oh.
So, what does Josh do to be the best basketball player he can be?
I play tennis.
Studies show that student athletes here in Ohio who play more than one high school sport are more likely to excel. Tennis does more than improve Josh's conditioning. It gives him a fresh competitive outlet, reduces the risk of injury by cross-training, and introduces him to different coaching techniques and new friends.
Don't get me wrong, hoops are my first love. Tennis just gives me a little break.
So when the new season begins, Josh isn't burned out on basketball. He's eager to play, and you can see the difference in his game.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show.
And we're back here at Toronto Red Knight Coaches Show, sponsored by J.E. Foster, live at Benningham with Coach Franke. Here, me, Jason Jenkins, Jim Jaggers Huggins. This weekend, Coach, we got a big rivalry. The Edison Wildcats. Tell me something, new and something. What do you know about this old-time rival, the Wildcats?
Listen, I know that we were beating them 20-0 at halftime last year, and they came back, beat us 21-20. I mean, that's something that stuck in my mind for the past 365 days of the year. So I know that. I know they're listen. It's your typical Edison team. They're physical.
Good size.
They're big up front. The linebacker plays really good. They're really aggressive linebacker. I mean, they're 3 steps forward on every play. I mean, they read their keys well. So it's definitely going to be a task for us. But trust me, if you don't think we've mentioned that comeback victory from last year a couple of times in this offseason, you'd be crazy. We talk about that.
There's one thing that really stands out from Edison. You don't see very many schools around the valley who have this. A quarterback that's about 6'7" and weighs 200-something pounds.
Correct.
How are you going to go about stopping him? I mean, they always tell everybody the bigger the tree, cut the roots out. But
Right.
how are you going to approach stopping him?
Well, a good thing for us is we have 2 linebackers who are 6'3", and we have another linebacker at 6'5". So
There you go.
He's big, but we got
and he showed some speed.
He does.
He
He's
a
fast.
98-yard touchdown.
He gets he gets going. He runs downhill, and listen. You can tell he's been hitting the legs quite a few times because he really gets low, man. He protects his legs, but listen, Caden Benton's 6'7" too, and he's a freak athlete as well. So, we know who we're playing. These kids know who he is, and they know that he's a runner, and they know he's a big kid, and that they're going to have to contain him. He's obviously the motor of their offensive engine, so or their offensive vehicle. He's the engine that makes them go. So we definitely have to try to contain him. I mean, as much as you guys want to talk about his legs, he can beat you through the air too.
Yes,
So he's got an arm on him. And he's a good quarterback prospect. So he's been playing since he's a freshman. So this is 4 years now of playing varsity football. He's experienced. He doesn't, Friday Night Shine doesn't get in his way.
Can I ask you, size? Because I know you guys have the one, if not the biggest line I've seen. You guys for the last few years have had a very big line, but their line's pretty big. How do they match up with you in size? We've seen them, but I really couldn't tell.
Listen, they're big. I mean, they're big. They're your typical Edison line. You get the big farm kids, and they're strong. You can tell that they spend some time in the weight room. But we match up well for them. I believe. I think it's going to be a good matchup. I think it's going to be a slugfest right up on there on the lines. And, I mean, that's what you want in a rivalry game. It's going to come down to who's tougher. The thing that worries us is, we're going to be dressing about 24, 25 kids, and they're going to be dressing about 58. So, that always factors in. And they some of their O linemen only play offensive line, and, some of their D linemen only play D line. And we got guys that are playing both ways most of the game.
Yeah.
So, you kind of wonder – if you can withstand the entire game and match their tempo the whole game, and that's where your endurance and conditioning come into play. But I tell you what, our kids will fight. I do know that. And again, this is a rivalry. They've been looking forward to this game, and I'm sure Edison has been looking forward to the game just as much as we have. So
I know that I know everybody's probably looking forward to 2 teams at 5-0. But then you get the wake-up call last week against Oak Glen. So does that help for the kids that, hey, that's already been knocked off our pedestal as far as an undefeated season. Now we got to get back to what we've been doing and not let that affect us and move forward against the team and an opportunity to knock them off of the undefeated pedestal?
Maybe a little bit. I think you kind of question, the pressure of being undefeated and having a little bit of that pressure on you, like to keep going. And everyone's talking about how good you're doing, and you feel that pressure, like, oh, I got to keep doing this because everyone's happy with me and the way I'm doing things. But again, we're a young football team, man. Like we got 2 seniors on the roster, so our kids are learning how to win, properly. Like how do you handle winning? And that's something that we learned last Friday.
And you learn, another lesson. Like you said, you're a very young team, and you mentioned to them, hey, this is a trap game. You guys, it seems like they overlooked them, but this group coming back, hey, next year.
Correct.
You know what? We're not going to – they learned something very valuable. And in a 10-game season, so what? You lost 1 game.
Right.
As long as you get to that 16 teams, like you said, so there's learning, something to be learned from that loss.
Well, and I think, you get all these people out there to make predictions and stuff, but I think we're all but certain to have a sealed spot in the playoffs right now at 4-1. So I mean, we're pretty much locked in somewhere now. Whether that's a home game or not, who knows? We got to keep trying to win some games, but I think the kids now maybe some of that pressure's off of them, and they I think now we're on the flip side of that coin. You have an undefeated Edison team who's a Division V school that's coming in. They're double your size on the roster. I think the pressure's a little bit off of us because, to be honest with you, I don't think many people expect us to even win this game. So I think the kids in the room, in the locker room, might be the only ones that believe that they can beat this team. So, I think that kind of alleviates some of the pressure. And,
I agree.
We'll see.
You expect a big crowd at home as always.
Sure.
On Friday night. Anything special going on? Is there any homecomings or anything?
Yeah, the only thing special going on is it's Edison. So that gate's going to be packed, and ticket sales are going to be through the roof, and this will be our biggest gate of the year for sure.
And Ohio Valley Sports Online will be.
You're going to be there.
I had another question I was going to ask you, and I just completely forgot it. That's why I went with the homecoming thing.
Yeah, so for anybody that can't make the game, tune in to Ohio Valley Sports Online.
Right. That's on YouTube. That's here I found out what I was remembering. Your injury, guys. I mean, you had some guys injured that game. What's their status for this game coming up?
Yeah, so Zeb's going to be back. He's practiced all week, and I think we erred on the side of caution Friday. I think that was still the right move. But he's fine. He's practiced all week. He looks good. Zane is again a day-to-day kind of thing. He's moving better, so we're optimistic there. And that might be like a game time decision type deal. I mean, here's what I can tell you about Zane. Zane knows his plays. Zane is a freak athlete. Zane not practicing for a couple of days is not going to hurt his ability to play football.
Right.
I mean, he's one of those kids that we could hold him out all week and he'd come Friday. He's a gamer and he's probably going to rush for 200 yards. So it's just. It's one of those things that we just got to see how he's feeling. Again, I think we've gotten to the stage now where we're thinking bigger picture.
Right.
Is it worth risking Zane to win against Edison if he's just not 100%? Probably not.
And
so
take a chance on losing for
exactly.
the rest of the year.
So that's just something. Listen, I have all the faith in the world in our athletic trainer, Jimmy Daly. Does a great job. He takes his job very serious. He's a professional in every sense of the word. And I'm going to listen to his advice. If he comes to me Friday, he's like, you know what? I just don't know if he's ready. And I'm like, okay, got it. We've practiced another kid all week. He'll be ready to go. But if Jimmy's comes to me, he's like, hey, listen, man, he looks good. Went through pregame. He's fine. I think he can go. Like, great.
Yeah.
Suit him up. So we'll see what happens. Center's back. He had a knee sprain. So we're just, he's gotten braced up, and he'll be ready to go as well. So
expecting a big game from Boucher. I think Boucher.
Yeah.
He had a big game against Oakland, over 115 yards, I think.
Listen, Dom's an athlete. I mean, he's being recruited by Miami, Ohio as a receiver. And the second half last week, we plugged him in at tailback. And, here's, again, this kid is a 4.0 student. He is taking several college-level classes. He is as intelligent as he is athletic. And he's one of those kids that got very little snaps at tailback, and we were like, hey, you're going to tailback, and he knew every play.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
when you have kids like that, that makes your job a little easier.
And Dom, like you said, he's an athlete.
Sure
the
is,
teams don't kick the Dom, and they do.
Right.
A lot of times it's a mistake.
Correct.
Well, we look forward to Friday night. Should be a good one. The temperature's starting to drop. It'll be a nice, cool evening.
Yep.
Football weather, as they say, but I
Right.
still want the warm weather in the summertime. I was on a boat yesterday. I was swimming today.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not ready to give up yet. But anyways, thanks as always for coming
thank
on,
you,
Josh.
guys.
I know it's tough always coming on after a loss and having to answer questions, but appreciate your honesty with it and coming in. And we'll have a big game to talk about next week.
That's right.
All right.
Thanks, guys. I
Good
appreciate
luck,
it.
Coach.
Yep, thank
Head
you.
coach Josh Frankie, the Toronto Red Knights. Take a time out. We'll talk with Steubenville Catholic Central head coach Eric Meek right after these words.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show.
A pioneer of casual dining, Bennigan's is internationally known for its unique neighborhood vibe and exceptional chef-driven food. Come to Bennigan's on University Boulevard to stir up a great memory. Come for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. and get $1 off draft and bottled beer and $1 off signature cocktails. Grab some bar bites too. Only $5 from 9 p.m. to close. Hey, are you a soccer fan? Check out the schedule of English Premier League soccer games. Bennigan's even has delivery service, and the number to call, 740-792-8080. You got a friend at Bennigan's.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Ohio, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So, where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The game is over, but this time, instead of asking how many goals did you score or what were your stats, try asking these questions. Were you a good teammate? Were you coachable? Did you give 100%? And did you have fun? Because those are the values that school sports instill in Ohio's young people, where winning and losing are secondary to the life lessons that will stay with kids long after their playing days are over. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
Welcome back, everyone, to Bennigan's. We're joined by Eric Meek, the head coach of the Steubenville Central Catholic Central Crusaders, who team another tough loss on this past weekend, Coach. But I know the kids are fighting hard. It's hard, moving forward as each week comes about. What was it like on this past weekend's game for you?
Well, we played it over at Edison on Thursday night, and we knew it was going to be quite a challenge. They got a lot of numbers. They got they have a great weightlifting program. They're good size, good speed. I told you last week that we went to the Matthews game the week before, and Matthews has a pretty good Division VII football team, and they really beat Matthews up. So I was very concerned going into the ball game with a small roster of getting, maybe coming out of that game less healthy.
Yeah.
And we challenged the kids all week to just be physical and play hard, and they did. I mean, there were many times I was proud of our defense. I wasn't proud when they took the 98-yard quarterback ISO that we worked on, time after time all last week. But when they had the ball at the 2, but there were times where our defense really played well. Our special teams played well. Offensively, we just are not getting any production yet. So, I'm very disappointed at this point of the season in the progression of our offense. But, we're only in the week 6, so there's still football to be played, and we're still working and we're adjusting and trying new combinations and some things schematically, I guess, offensively. But like I said, I at times very, very proud of our defense, very proud of our effort, very proud of our special teams for the most part. And I think that, Ed Lumen from the Herald Star came up to me after the game and said, Coach, kids, and I said, well, hopefully, hopefully Thursday night made us a better football team, and we did come out healthy. And I asked the kids before the game, I asked the kids all week, right before kickoff, I asked them one lesson. I said, do me a favor, play hard and don't flinch.
Mm-hmm.
And at halftime, I said to the kids, you know, the week before, Matthews, who beat us pretty good in week 1, Edison just rolled over in the second half, and I said, "Well, the score. Are you gonna keep fighting?" And they said, "Yes, sir, we will." And I was proud of the kids because they did that. They did keep fighting. They fought to the final second one off the clock.
You know, Coach, and I was going to say that because the score was not indicative at all of how hard. Being able to watch the game,
right?
How hard the kids played. They even the offense, they were able to put some drives together. They just weren't successful at the end of the drive.
Yeah, I think games 1 and 2. I think game 1, we were a little nervous. A new coaching staff, a new way of doing things. Every staff's different. Week 2, we ran into a buzzsaw against Caldwell, and we definitely did flinch. But from game 3, Wellsville, Rosecrans, Edison, I can honestly tell you that, there's so many things that we saw as far as effort, playing with heart, that we like. Now, there's things we definitely got to keep getting better on. We're far from being where we're going to want to be. But, we're going to keep going, and I know our staff's doing, coaches working hard. Friday, we went all the way to Brownsville, PA to scout Carrick, and Saturday back up to Lakeview, we saw Matthews play Madonna. So, now we're getting back into the Saturday mode. We've been talking. We played 5 football games from August 20th to September 15th.
Yeah.
So, now we're slowing the pace down a little bit.
I'm curious about when it's hard when you're not seeing the fruits of your labor by victories. The kids are busting tail and you're getting better hopefully and you're watching it, but the wins just aren't coming. How difficult is it for you guys and your staff to keep the attitudes positive as these losses are coming around? I mean, you got the taste of victory a couple of weeks ago, but then you lose this game to Edison. How difficult is that to spring back from as we come into this week, actually?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm glad you asked that question because less than 2 hours ago, I just looked at my watch, we were getting ready to leave the field, and I told the kids as a group, I said, I'm going on the show tonight, and I said, I'm going to just tell you what I'm going to say because I mean it. And there's a lot of teams around the state of Ohio that are probably 1-4 right now and have packed it.
Mm-hmm.
Not our kids. And because of that, I'm very proud, and it's fun to go to work. Now, this is the other thing I'm going to say, and I usually don't say stuff like this, but I'm going to say it here, and the kids know I was going to say it tonight. Anyone that bleeds blue and gold better just stick with us because this program will get turned around. How soon will it get turned around? I don't know the exact answer. I'm hoping for our 4 or 5 seniors that we have that it's this year. But if it isn't this year, they're going to be a part of something special because I guarantee you it's going to happen soon.
Yeah, and the seniors are setting your groundwork.
Sure. And there's probably people that are like, well, how are you handling this? And, okay, we're 1-4. Well, there's a lot of bad things that can happen in life a lot worse than that. Amen. And, as you get older and wiser, these are kids it's high school football, and we're building a culture, and we're building a set of guidelines, and we're building expectations, and we are going to get it turned around. And if we don't get it turned around, then no one's going to have to tell me to clean out the office because they won't have to tell me I'll do it because I that's how confident I am. So it will happen, and in the time being, it's going to be very fun, just like it was fun today, and it's going to be fun tomorrow, and it's going to be fun going back with those kids Friday and Saturday on game day, and that day will come, and we're going to look back, and we're going to say, wow, remember the struggles to get to this point. So you're not going to find me sitting in a corner feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
Sorry for the rant.
Oh, no.
That's exactly how I feel.
That's much appreciated. But I because what I was going to say, like people that didn't see the game and just read the paper and see the score, they didn't see where you had them maybe third down and 13, they pressed off a big play for a first down. They didn't see, so it's just a play or two away.
Yeah,
and that adds up.
Let me talk about Coach Palmer's defense and the other coaches. Coach Gillette, Coach Lesnar, and Coach Grimard. And then we have two guys that I can't not speak about. One is my father, who's coached for 60 years. He comes in on Sundays and doesn't come to practice and goes up in the box. And Coach Jerry Vinci, my good friend, been coaching for probably 50 years. He helps us on the weekend. So, but you're right. Our defense, we look so much better than we looked week 1 and 2.
Right.
And we're getting in there, and if we don't get a 3 and out, which we've been getting 3 and outs, we will maybe give up maybe a yard or 2 yards, and then maybe a minus yard, and then, like you said, then we give up the big play. And but it's a process,
right?
And we just got to keep playing, and we're getting better. And now all of a sudden, the hard coaching that I see, if you've been around Bruce Palmer, he's an intense guy. He's an excellent football coach. He's an excellent human being, as you know. You've known him a lot longer than me. And our kids are starting to realize that, again, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And they're starting to realize that hard coaching from Coach Palmer and the other assistants, it's because they care about them and they want them to improve. And I saw it even today. I saw, instead of that shell shock look from a kid when he's being coached intensely, it's like they're getting it now.
Right.
And we're just preparing them for Saturday night and preparing them for life.
He and I have been friends for 50 years. And in fact, Bruce broke my ankle in a Little League when he was trying to stretch a single and a double, and I had my foot on the other side of the bag, and he slid right in and broke my ankle. So I never got back to him on that. But, he is a very intense person, and he wants results. And I know eventually it's gonna come to fruition. I mean, you're going to take lumps or whatever and just have to work off of that. But, if you – let's talk about you've played 5 games now, so you're 1-4. And we're at the halfway point. What are the things you see that you like offensively and defensively? And then we'll ask about the other way around.
Well, besides, we had the pick 6 the other night. But you take that pick 6 away, we've been taking care of the football up to that point. The second interception, to be quite frank with you, shouldn't have been an interception. Tommy Purgie, the officiating was excellent in the game. It was really good. But we thought that the kid pulled his jersey, and then the other kid intercepted it. So one of the positives offensively is we've been taking care of the football except for the pick 6. What do we need to improve? Well, we need to improve our run game.
Yeah.
And our lack of big plays offensively. When you can't get a 20-yard gain or 30-yard gain, it's going to be hard to score points. We're averaging right now, and this is just stats. It's nothing to hide. We're averaging 102 yards a game and 7 points after 5 weeks.
Wow.
And that's unacceptable, and we're going to keep working until we get it straightened out.
There's only one way to go, though.
Right.
Absolutely. Hey, Coach, I know you don't like to talk. I mean, but I do follow Joe Attell when I'm going Drew Pastor. You pull off a couple more, two out of 5 games. You're looking at a playoff shot.
Yeah. That's still a possibility. But this is a big game this week against a very good athletic football team. I was very surprised. I thought going into the season that Madonna would have been one of our lower teams on our schedule just from what they had back, but they had some kids that came out. They've had some transfers, and I got to see them firsthand against a good Matthews team Saturday night. And, they're very athletic. Now, the second half, Matthews really really shut them down, kind of. And they had some turnovers, and Matthews won at the end of the game 16-13 on a field goal. So it's a very, very athletic team, very impressed with their skill. They like to throw the football. And I wouldn't say they're a physical team like Edison was or Caldwell. I think those are going to be the two most physical, just brute physical teams we faced. But they're an aggressive team that's athletic, that'll get to the football and make tackles.
Yeah. All right, Coach, let's take a timeout. The Steubenville Catholic Central Head Coaches Show with Eric Meek is being brought to you by Bennigan's, where we're having some food and watching everybody eat dinner. So let's take a timeout. We'll be back with this week's opponent, the Madonna Blue Dons, after this.
A pioneer of casual dining, Bennigan's is internationally known for its unique neighborhood vibe and exceptional chef-driven food. Come to Bennigan's on University Boulevard to stir up a great memory. Come for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. and get $1 off draft and bottled beer and $1 off signature cocktails. Grab some bar bites too, only $5 from 9 p.m. to close. Hey, are you a soccer fan? Check out the schedule of English Premier League soccer games. Bennigan's even has delivery service, and the number to call, 740-792-8080. You got a friend at Bennigan's. Looking for a place to stay? Then stay at the Best Western Plus Franciscan Square Inn & Suites, conveniently located in the beautiful Ohio Valley next to State Routes 22 and 7 at the gates of Franciscan University of Steubenville. Receive a warm welcome from friendly, attentive staff, providing all the amenities you deserve. Each guest room is done in beautiful modern decor, with amenities including a microwave and mini fridge, free high-speed wireless internet, and a flat panel television. Stay in a suite for extra space with the same great amenities. Best Western Plus Franciscan Square Inn is a proud Barron sponsor.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
This broadcast is brought to you by Ohio Valley Sports Online, your sports authority. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and get instantly notified when we go live on our next broadcast, only on Ohio Valley Sports Online. Welcome back, everyone, to Bennigan's Restaurant with the Ohio Valley Sports Online's Coaches Show with head coach Eric Meek of the Steubenville Catholic Central Crusaders, who take on one of your rivals, We're at Madonna Blue Dons. They've had a nice back and forth over the years. First time in several years there won't be an Arlia quarterback for We're at Madonna. But what can you tell us about the Blue Dons and head coach? I don't know. Even know what their coach's name, Benz or something?
Mauro Mons.
Mons.
Yeah, we shared a text. We coached two similar places. He coached with Coach Walton at Robert Moore, so did I, and he coached at Youngstown State a few years ago. But they like to spread it out of the gun, and he like to throw the football. They got a sophomore quarterback who's very athletic, and he has a cannon. They got very quick, elusive receivers. The Chase Littleton boy, pretty tall kid. And, from a personal standpoint, remember, I did radio the last 4 years, and I did about 4 Madonna's games. So when I was up there scouting last week, I was like, I tell them, I've seen these kids play, a lot of them. And Their skill is very good. Their linebackers are good. Their secondary is good. They get to the football defensively, and they have some athletes. So we need to try to get some pressure. We need to try to force him into some inaccuracy and maybe pick some of those off, like Matthews was fortunate enough to do last week, and try to keep it a low-scoring game. Win the battle of the special teams.
Yeah, like you said, we expected Madonna maybe to be down a little bit. They lost a lot.
Yeah.
They lost earlier, but the kids that they have come up, the quarterback, the Hare kid, the receiver, along with Littleton, they're surprisingly doing very well in a rebound season. I don't know about how are their numbers. I know the comparable.
Their numbers are a little lower than ours.
Yeah.
As far they're in the low 20s or mid 20s, but I think they dressed 22 the other night. I think a few kids came out this year that played other sports. A couple that have helped them, and then they got a few transfers. I've to my understanding. So. They're just like all of us other Division 7 teams that aren't real deep. You're trying to plug holes, and when a kid goes down, sometimes guys got to learn two positions. And, they lost a really tough game to a pretty good Matthews team that was a little bit beat up, obviously, from playing Edison the week before, but still, they gave Matthews all they could handle.
This Matthews likes to play teams from down here, don't they?
Yeah. Well, they've three teams, I guess. Three teams: Edison, Madonna, and us. Yes.
Yes. Now, size-wise, how do they compare? With you guys, bigger?
No, they compare with us. I mean, like I said, Edison had some really big kids, physical kids. So, but again, Madonna is a very aggressive team that gets to the football. It's just a different type of aggressiveness. So.
And defensively, what kind of defense do they?
Well, they'll mix it up. Sometimes they'll put 4 guys down, sometimes 5. Against Bridgeport, we have that film who spreads it out. They run more of a 4-man front. Last week against the wing T, they mixed it up. They put a little more 5-man front. It could have been because of the wing T, but we're prepared. Like I said, week 6 now, we're prepared for anything that anyone puts up against us.
Exactly.
So now after 5 weeks, and now you get Madonna at home, and it's always a nice rivalry between them. But what is it that stands out from Madonna, difference-wise in your program to them? I mean, you both obviously are Catholic schools or anything, but when you look across the the river and you see their program, what's the difference between your program and their program?
Well, I don't know really the difference, except for they had a little bit of success, and they have beaten us the last few years. I mean, you got 2 programs with first-year head coaches. You got 2 programs that are fairly young. I think they have about the same amount of seniors as us, which you could count on one hand. And I think it's both teams are trying to get as many wins as they can in 2022 and hoping that the future is bright. So, I just think that, again, these small schools are very proud, and there's not a lot of small schools left. You look at all the consolidations at Edison and Buckeye and, just all the different schools, Cadiz. You got Wellsville, you got Toronto, you got Shadyside, Bridgeport on the Ohio side. The public schools, you got Madonna, Wheeling Central, Catholic Central, the private school, so a lot of the small schools are gone. So there's very few left. And I think that's why sometimes we have to travel or even play up in divisions.
You can even combine, Wellsville and Toronto and maybe somebody else because they're right next to each other, so you just never know. Right. How do you plan on attacking we're at Madonna when you get the football and going after them? You want to establish your run game. You want to get your quarterback throwing the ball early.
We're going to mix it up. We're going to mix it up. The thing that does concern me, and I think it's concerned anyone that's played them, is they got two really good athletic stand-up defensive ends. So we got to get some people on them and slow them down and be able to run up inside of them and then be able to hold them out on pass rush. And, and then when you do throw the ball, besides worrying about them, they got some athletic kids in their secondary. So, we'll see. We got to be able to move the ball. We got to be able to slow those ends down. We got to be able to get first downs and points.
You're looking for sustained drives. I mean, everybody.
I
just
think,
as you can get.
Yeah, I think with our situation, our lack of big play, I think when you even look back at Bishop Rosecrans, the game we've won so far, we scored 3 touchdowns and it was sustained drives. And getting the last touchdown, we had a great defensive stand and then a great punt return set it up. But we moved the ball in that game at times and didn't get points. We had the ball, I think, 4 times down in the red zone in the fourth quarter alone.
It's homecoming Saturday, right? Or
yes.
Yeah, okay. So.
Yes, but I don't think the dance is. I kind of like that. I think the dance is later on. I like that as a coach.
And we get to hear the wonderful voice of Mary Lou Jones, who we both know from radio for working forever, but doing the PA at the halftime for that. So, as a coach, you like those kind of things that happen, because it seems like it makes halftime stay longer, and that gives you more time with your team in the locker room.
What, are halftimes longer this week? I didn't know it was.
They never come back on time when there's an event.
I don't know.
If it's senior night or whatever,
if they tell us, listen, when you've done it this long, you just adapt. You don't know. I just told you guys before we went on the air, I got off the field at 5:55, ran up to the office, jumped in the shower, made sure there was a coach to lock the locker room up because they lifted. But you never know when you're a head coach what's going to come up from second to second. My phone while I'm here could have been, I might have 8 text messages when I walk out of here while I was here. So you just don't know. And the thing that I've found out after doing it all these years is you just take it a day at a time. And you adapt to so many things that people maybe don't even think about. The distractions, there's so many different personalities you got to deal with. Your coaching staff, the kids, administration, opposing coaches, that you just got to be able to go. You roll with the punches.
I saw you got fired up a couple of times last week during that Madonna game. I watched it on TV. I'm laying on the couch going, that guy doesn't look like that when he's in. My sister like, man, he's all fired up.
What, the Edison game?
Yeah.
Oh.
I said, he doesn't. I said, he's not like that when he's talking to us.
Oh, yeah. You turn I'm kind of like that on the practice field, too. You kind of turn a switch. And sometimes I maybe like that in my classroom at school. I just, not in a negative way. I get fired up. When I teach passionately.
Get intense, that's all.
Yeah. What do you teach there at Toronto?
7th and 8th grade history.
History.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We just told my old broadcast partner, John Neese, I said, when John was in school, they didn't even have history yet.
Yeah. He was history.
Yeah.
I said he was so old, his Social Security number was 5. Well, Coach, thanks. We appreciate coming down as always. Look forward to Saturday night, and hopefully we're going to be talking about a victory.
Hope so.
Next Wednesday, and look forward to seeing the kids again. And it's always nice to be at home. So
right, and I'm confident that they're going to give it their very best.
And hopefully we get a nice crowd on hand to cheer you guys on. So.
Right.
Yes, and we will be there Saturday at Ohio Valley Sports Online.
Yep.
We'll be there.
We'll see you then.
All right, Coach. Head Coach Eric Meek of the Steubenville Catholic Central Crusaders. We'll take a timeout. We'll be back with the Edison Wildcats' Mike Cullopy coming up after these words.
Good luck.
A pioneer of casual dining, Bennigan's is internationally known for its unique neighborhood vibe and exceptional chef-driven food. Come to Bennigan's on University Boulevard to stir up a great memory. Come for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. and get $1 off draft and bottled beer and $1 off signature cocktails. Grab some bar bites too, only $5 from 9 p.m. to close. Hey, are you a soccer fan? Check out the schedule of English Premier League soccer games. Bennigan's even has delivery service, and the number to call, 740-792-8080. You got a friend at Bennigan's. Bert's Hot Dog Shop. Here's the who, what, where, when, and why about Bert's.
Where?
Route 18, just outside Burgettstown.
When?
When you want the very best hot dog you've ever tasted.
Why?
Because it's Bert's passion to create the best hot dog, to create fresh homemade chili sauce for your chili dog each and every day.
How?
Oh, that's simple. It's a foot long with or without chili. It's a hot dog with or without the fixins. It's how you love your hot dog. Bert knows. Bert knows how. Bert knows hot dogs. Route 18. See you there, dog.
Do you want a plush green lawn? Who doesn't? Call Bradley Lawnscape and Sons today. They do lawn fertilizing, getting your year-round healthy grass. And they control weeds. No dandelions, crabgrass, clover, or other undesirable weeds. Bradley Lawnscape and Sons. Better results guaranteed. BradleyLawnscapes.com, a proud sponsor of this broadcast.
You know, Fort Steuben Maintenance should be your first choice when it comes to any and all construction projects, whether it's commercial or residential. Make Fort Steuben Maintenance your first call. You can rely on them to be the experts when it comes to roofing, concrete, plumbing, carpentry, just about any job that needs done. Fort Steuben Maintenance, they're fully licensed and bonded and will even give you a free estimate. Fort Steuben Maintenance. You want the number? 740-283-4890.
Down the street, there's a hardware store with great tools, products,
and expert advice.
We've got everything you need because we know the community and we know our customers. So next time you have a home improvement project,
drop by
your local True Value hardware store. True Value.
Start right.
Start here.
At M&M True Value Hardware on Sunset Boulevard in Steubenville.
Right now, we've got everything you need for that all-important fall cleanup. So hurry in today.
Marcino Enterprises is your complete auto and truck repair center. Marcino Enterprises also offers towing, tires, and vehicle undercoating. You can visit Marcino Enterprises at their new location across from the Winter Drive-In on 43 for 24/7 roadside assistance. Save this number in your phone right now, 740-282-8880. That's an easy number, 740-282-8880. Marcino Enterprises does it all. Towing, tires, repair, and vehicle undercoating.
Welcome back, everyone, to Bennigan's Restaurant as we now talk with Mike Colby, the head coach of the Edison Wildcats here on Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show. And Michael, an impressive win. You get a shutout, right? Was that a shutout the other night?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Against Steubenville Central, we just had Eric Meek on here. You dominated from start to finish on the game. I watched the game laying on my couch, and it didn't seem like they could do anything to stop. I think the backbreaker, of course, had to be probably the 98-yard touchdown run by Klein. So when you look back at that, it seemed like everything was working pretty well for you.
You know, I thought our kids played hard. You know, obviously we made some mistakes. You know, I thought Central had a really good game plan. You know, Coach Meek's an outstanding coach. You know, they had a really good offensive, defensive game plan. And their kids played really hard, you know. So, you know, we, you know, I think we kind of got going as the game went on. And like I said, I was proud of our effort. And, you know, you come out with a win and you move on. Bye.
What was it, you know, that you mix the ball, you mix it up pretty well, a run and pass, but then, you know, that big, like Jack said, that big run, you know, pretty much was a backbreaker. You know, the pick six, you know, when it started the game was good, but what was it that you saw that, okay, this is going to be successful? Or was it just, okay, let's get this ball out from the 2-yard line and work from there? Or did you know, I mean, was there something that you saw that we're going to be able to run this and run it well all night?
Well, I think we had a game plan going in, and to be honest with you, Coach Vogel, Coach Piro, who's our offensive coordinator, and Coach Marcino and the rest of the offensive staff. I mean, they do a real good job of game planning, for our opponents, and I work with our defensive staff. So, everybody has a job to do and a responsibility. So, we communicate with each other, but at the end of the day, I mean, I trust those guys 100%, and, whatever we feel like is going to be the best interest of the team that week, that's what we're going to do. And, we saw some things that we could do, and, a lot of it's, when you're in the middle of a game, you're adjusting as the game goes because you come up with a game plan, and, things can be completely different once the ball's kicked. So,
I noticed one thing on that play, that 98-yard run, is that, you have a big offensive line, and being down there against the shadows of your own goal, you want to move the ball forward, whether it be a couple of yards at a time or whatever. You always take the big play, of course. But, they go in there, they're going to maul people and try and move it back. But what I noticed, too, is that when Klein got there, he lowered his head, and he went at guys. So it's not like, he goes, hey, I'm right here, you can go ahead and tackle me. I'm going to make you pay, and then he bounced off of guys, and then, boom, it was off to the races from there. So even, the physicality of your line was one thing, but you also have that in your quarterback, and the lineman's got to love that, the fact that, this guy's like one of us.
Mm-hmm. First off, our offensive line, I love those guys for who they are. They work extremely hard. Most offensive lines are the most unselfish people on the team because, they're the ones not getting, their name in the paper or any type of credit. And I think Gage has proven to them, over the past year or so, that he's somebody that's, that will put his head down. And I think they understand that. When we start practice off, we always do board drills, and Gage is not treated like anybody else. He goes against some O linemen and, holds his own. And,
he should. He's pretty big.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, that builds some credibility within the team.
Not only, the line's big, strong, physical. I seen one young man, very intelligent. I just happened to catch, he was News 9 Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Yeah.
And just listen to him talk on there. I'm like, man, this kid he's got a bright future.
Yeah, Zach Kuntz, he's our left tackle. He plays defensive end for us. It's very rare to be a 16-year-old. I believe he's 16. He might not even be 16. He might only be 15. He's very mature. He comes from a great family, somebody that, thinks, he's in a teenage world, but he thinks like an adult. He's very responsible. He takes, academics very seriously. And, he takes the same approach to football. I mean, whether it's weight room or, playing, and he's a yes or no sir type of guy. That's an absolute credit to his family. They raised him, the way kids should all be raised. Mm-hmm. And, he speaks well. He sent me an email one time, and I almost had to have somebody read it for me because, it was like I got an email from a college professor or somebody. So, awesome. He's a great kid, and we were really happy that News 9, selected him, and it was well deserving.
What was the key on defense? I mean, coming out of the shutouts, always nice. I mean, when you shut another team out from scoring, that's always nice. But what did defense do in order to achieve that? What were the things that you saw that you knew your defense could handle whatever Central was throwing at you?
Well, I think first and foremost, we limited the splash plays, big plays. We just kept getting back in the huddle. There's an old saying, on the defensive side, I've heard a good friend of mine, who used to be a coach, tells me you're gonna give up one drive a game. Just keep getting them back in the huddle. Make them drive the length of the field. Yeah. I thought we got to the ball. I thought we were pretty physical. I was really proud of our kids because, we're not one to lie in the past or to sit on an alibi, but I didn't really think about it till after the game. And one of our coaches said, we played 2 games in 5 days. And, I was proud of their focus, their mindset throughout the week, because, we had game Saturday, came back in, broke down film, had a short week. And, like I said before, man, you play the hand you're dealt. There was no excuses going into it. This is the situation. We're going to step up and do whatever we have to do. And whether it happens in the game, this is not going to be an excuse.
And one thing, I talking about the defense, during a game, everything, has to click. If, when things are going well, everything has to click. And it seems like all phases of the defense, from the defensive line holding the line, holding their blocks, freeing up, because I heard Eisnagel, that gives your linebackers time to, and their play was excellent, and it based on the defensive line freeing them up, they made a lot of plays. That's a credit to the defense all working together.
Absolutely. We have a standard, we're creating standards, and one of that's coachability and doing what you're supposed to do. And some days it's some games maybe the D-line, they're in the backfield. Some games are eating up blocks.
Yes.
And the linebackers are making the plays. And ideally, defense is kind of set up for good defenses are set up for linebackers to make the plays. And
right.
I thought, both the front end and the back end, I thought they worked well together. We made some mistakes. We addressed it on film, and hopefully, those mistakes are corrected. But overall, I thought, as a unit, I thought we worked really well. I thought we, limited our breakdowns in alignment assignment, and that has to continue to happen.
Your first 5 weeks now, you're undefeated at 5-0. We ask just about every coach this at the midway point of the season. Let's talk about your offense first. What are the things that you're happy with through the first 5 weeks? What are the things you still think needs to be ironed out?
Well, I'll be honest. We're happy but not satisfied. We always, talk about, taking what you did well and do it better, and taking what you didn't do well and improving it. I think offensive line-wise, I know Coach Fogel and Coach Marcino have talked about staying on blocks, sustaining blocks longer. Our running backs, it's making the right reads, off of a cut or into a cut, knowing where you're blocking set up. As far as our quarterback and receivers, right reads, the correct routes, knowing the situation, knowing when to get down, when to get out of bounds, knowing where to cut. A lot of times you get guys in open field, they want to start, dancing around and one cut and get upfield. We're happy, not happy, but we like what we're seeing. But what we're seeing in practice today is not going to be good enough tomorrow. It's a constant improvement mindset. If you're happy, if you're content. I just was reading something where Jason Kelsey, there was a nice little article and quote about him talking about the Eagles, and I don't really know who he was talking about, but they asked him, do you think so and so is comfortable? And he said, listen, I don't want anybody to be comfortable, because if you're comfortable, that means you're not looking at the areas that you need to improve upon.
Yeah.
And we have tons of areas on both sides of the ball to improve upon. And if you're uncomfortable, that means you're focusing on those things. And I think that's kind of the mindset we have is, we're not really comfortable. We're not looking at our season record right now. Every week is a 1 week season. And whatever you did the previous week, good or bad, you move on. Like I said, you make whatever you did well, you want to be better in those areas. You can always be better. And whatever you didn't do well, you want to improve upon. And if that happens, at the end of the year, the season's a journey. It's not a sprint. It's not a quick race. There's a story throughout the journey that'll be told, and when the season's done over, we can look back at the journey. But right now, we're not interested in anything other than, tomorrow's practice and getting better tomorrow.
Kids they know what's going on. It's not like when we were in school.
Yeah.
We didn't have Joe Itel and Drew Pastore and Max Preps and all that kind of stuff, and all these, medias and all that other stuff. And so they know that their team's undefeated. They know that you're going to be, the state rankings and all that coming, playoffs coming. How do you curb, or do you curb that enthusiasm, or do you let them enjoy it and say, you know what, that's fine for now, but we still have 5 more games left. But it's a nice accomplishment halfway through the season.
To answer that honestly is we're very honest with them. And sometimes honesty is brutal, and sometimes the truth sometimes hurts. And, we're not looking at what we've done, throughout the past 5 weeks. And, all these official, unofficial rankings and reports and all that, that's all out of our control. A good friend of mine, again, control what you can control, control the controllables. let everybody else, speculate. There's going to be hype one way or the other. There's going to be talk one way or the other.
Yeah.
So, I like to think that our job as coaches is to keep everybody grounded and focus on the task at hand, and the task at hand this week is Toronto.
Yeah. All right, head coach Mike Colopy of the Edison Wildcats at 5-0, taking on the Toronto Red Knights. They'll take a timeout from Bennigan's, and we'll be back with Coach Colopy to talk about this week's matchup against the Red Knights.
Enjoy going to a place where it seems everyone knows your name? We all do. That's why you and your friends will fit right in at the Parkview Inn located in Mingo Junction. The Parkview Inn is home to the coldest beer in town. Looking to catch the game? The Parkview has multiple big screens to catch all the sports action. Located in the heart of downtown, the Parkview Inn has been a Mingo tradition for decades. At the Parkview Inn, you may walk in as a stranger, but you will leave as a friend.
So you're driving the kids to school and you have to turn up the radio just to drown out the horrible sound your car's making. Who knows what you need? You're driving along without a care in the world. Then you notice the engine light comes on. Who knows what you need? You dread having to stop at red lights because your car sounds like it's screaming in pain. Who knows what you need? Napa Auto Care Center in Wintersville knows what you need. They're an established and reputable shop. They know engines, transmissions, brakes, alignments, and anything else your vehicle needs. They know what you need. Do you need the number? 740-346-2120.
Since the year 2000, our population has decreased from 74,000 to 64,000. We need to provide opportunities so that our young talent stays in the area. Our kids' futures depend on the decisions we make and the efforts we employ. As your county commissioner, I will see to it that all county entities have the necessary tools to communicate, plan, and execute the effort needed for bringing increased economic development. It's not about I, it's about we. We have to do this as a team. Paid for by Friends of Eric Timmons.
There's nothing like the sound of a ball solidly hit off a wooden bat. At the Swearingen Bat Company, all bats are handcrafted for you. Their focus is on a player's specific needs. The perfect balance with a perfect handle should be a smooth extension to the batter. Visit the Swearingen Bat Company online at swearingenbaseball.com or look them up on Facebook. Get that perfect quality wooden bat handcrafted locally just for you. There are plenty of models for all levels of play, and they also make great gifts for your special player. You can even choose your own design right down to the specific color. Make sure you visit the Swearingen Bat Company today. Premium quality custom wooden bats, locally made. The Swearingen Bat Company is a proud sponsor of this broadcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to Bennigan's Restaurant. Head coach Mike Colopy of the Edison Wildcats joining us. And Coach, coming off the big win against Crusaders, now you have another opponent standing in front of you. The Red Knights were undefeated, state-ranked going into this past week, upset by Oak Glen. So knocked a little luster maybe off the shine of two undefeateds playing, but still a great matchup down at Clark Hinkle Stadium on Friday night. We'll be there doing a game with both you guys. And so when you look at the Toronto Red Knights, what do you see from them that you like? What do you see that you're going to have to do in order to stop them?
Well, collectively, they're very dangerous. I think they, on offense, they're loaded with splash plays, big plays. They have a lot of guys that can run, a lot of team speed. They're very big up front. They have some guys that are, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". I think they're getting a lot of, college interest. Offensively, like I said, they spread you out. They got athletes all over the place, splash plays. They're a big play team. Defensively, a lot of the same guys, and it's pressure. They get after you. They get to the ball. So those are a lot of things that, teams' speed, like I said, size and speed are two things you can't coach. They have both of them. Coach Frankie does an outstanding job. His special teams are always good. They're always tough to prepare for. And I think he's got a really good scheme on both sides of the ball.
Now, what do you do schematically? Because you guys are pretty big up front, too, on both sides of the ball. Do you change, do you change, what you've been doing without giving your game plan away, obviously? Or, do we go, this is who we are, this is what's been successful, and this is what we're going to do?
To answer that is you just be who you are and, take what the other team's going to give you, You know, a lot of times you go into it with plan A, and sometimes plan B is you know, you get into that the second play of the game. You know, we game plan, you know, for them like we have everybody else, and you know, we'll go into it with a plan and have a backup, and you know, just kind of see how it goes. But you know, it's a big game, it's a rival game. You know, I know that both communities get excited. You know, we're close to each other in proximity. You know, I think on both sides of it, it's, you know, fans and the community get excited, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is the game. You know, we have to keep our kids focused, grounded. You know, we have to make sure that their attention to detail is on point, and they can't worry about what's going on the outside. You know, the most important thing is the game, and you know, whether this school has this going on, pep rally, all that is just you know, it's sweets and candy and whatever. It's not anything that's very important. I mean, it's all, you know, fluff around. So, you know, hopefully our guys, you know, I think we've had 3 good days of practice, you know, but 3 good days of practice don't equal anything. We have to come out tomorrow and have a good practice tomorrow.
They've got guys injured. I mean, everybody gets guys injured through games and stuff. When you plan for a team and you're privy to that information, you know that information, or whether or not, okay, we know this guy's out because he got a broken leg or something like that. How does that change your game planning as far as, you know, maybe going at his replacement, or does it have any effect at all on how you prepare for whoever you're playing?
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, it's not like the NFL where you get injured report. So we're expecting them to be at full strength. We're preparing for that. You know, I don't really know their situation, and it's really not us as coaches or players. You know, our players can't get caught up in what they're hearing, because the bottom line is, you know, we're preparing for them, and you know, whoever they have playing, you know, at 7 o'clock on Friday, and whoever we have playing on 7 o'clock on Friday will go at it, and you know, you do what's best for for your team, and don't really worry about, you know, the outside noise. And you know, you can't. I just don't think you can get caught up in that. That's just my personal opinion. You just prepare, you know, as if, you know, everybody's playing. I mean, to our knowledge, and you know, for our intents and purposes, we're preparing for them to be fully loaded and ready to go. And you know, like I said, it's a big game. So you know, even if, you know, both teams come out with players not playing, you know, it means something to both teams, and you know, they're going to give us whatever they have, and we'll do the same thing for them.
Yeah, speaking of that, you know, like you said, it is going to be a packed house, and for, you know, both communities going to be there. You know, but for the people that can't be there, tune into Ohio Valley Sports Online. We will have the game Friday night.
I'll let my mom know too.
You can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, I sent it to her. She was a little bit embarrassed because I had to explain to her, but I told her that, you know, things have changed tremendously, and you know, she was apologizing to me, and I'm like, Mom, you don't have to apologize. Trust me. There's a lot of this stuff I'm learning as I'm going too. So I sent her the link, and you know, she said that, you know, if she wasn't going to be able to go, you know, she at least, you know, could watch it at home. So
her and Big Pete.
Yeah. Well, Big Pete and Kathy, they're working a lot, so I don't know.
Tell them they can put it on the TV over there.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. We got it. It's on right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, Big Pete and Kathy, they're hysterical.
How do you keep the kids? I mean, like you said, it's a big game. It's, you know, Toronto, Edison, they're right next door. The kids know each other. How do you keep this from getting overzealous, you know, overhyped, and, you know, ready to play, as you said, the game? You know?
Well, all we can control is the 2 hours we have in practice, preparing them, and you know, we got after and practice a little bit this week. You know, there's, you know, our areas of improvement. Whoever the opponent is, you know, you got to fix what you're doing first, and you know, we feel like, as a coaching staff, you know, that we have our kids going in the right direction. But the right direction doesn't mean anything until you go out and play. You know, it's about going out there and competing, carrying over the, you know, what were taught throughout the week, the game plan. You know, don't get caught up in the bright lights. And the, like you said, there's a lot of hype, and they're 17, you know, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. I mean, it's human nature, but, you know, our job as coaching, and my job as their coach, is to make sure that, they're focused on the important stuff, and the important stuff is the game. It don't matter what happens before or after the game. You know, whether we're happy or whether we're sad is going to be determined by our play on Friday. And there's only one group of guys that can control it, and it's us as coaches and it's them as players. Nobody else can. You know, there's, like I said, there's no pep rally. There's nothing, you know, there's nothing that's going to make anything sway one way or the other. It's our play. So it comes down to being able to play well and doing our job.
What are your keys then for you guys to come out on victory on Friday night? What has to happen? Not in a perfect storm, but you know, for Edison to get past the Red Knights.
Well, I would say special teams are huge. Being able to be sound on special teams. Defensively, it's, you know, not giving up those big splash plays. You know, we can't be giving up, you know, 80-yard runs and, you know, 60-yard passes. They're either setting up a touchdown or a touchdown. And offensively, take care of the football, taking what they're giving us. You know, everybody's, you know, our offensive line has to communicate. You know, they like to move a lot. You know, their defense isn't as in a defense is going to sit there. You know, so we have to make sure we're communicating. You know, we have to make sure we're able to take care of the football, sustain drives. You get in the red area, come away with points. You know, you don't want to, you know, squander opportunities. So, you know, obviously turnovers are always big in games. You know, those are momentum. I think, you know, Billy was talking last week. You know, there's momentum in all sports, and you know, momentum can swing from one place to the other, from one team to the other.
On one play to another.
One play to the other, it could change the whole game. But your mental focus and toughness of, you know, of your kids, hopefully that they're, you know, hopefully we've taught them it's next play, for better or for worse. You know, you live in the past or you think about the future, the present's going to beat you up. So we got to be where our feet are at all times, make sure that, you know, we're focusing on the situation and not what happened in the past or looking ahead.
I got to ask you, Coach, you know, how you guys seem to be pretty healthy coming this game injury-wise. You okay?
You know, we have guys, listen, it's, you know, like you guys said, week 6, you know, I was talking to Coach Sack last week. You know, everybody's beat up at this point. You know, you go through, you know, camp and you have, you know, doubles and you get into the season. You know, there's guys that are dinged up. I mean, we have guys that, you know, may or may not play depending on how they're feeling, you know, just like anybody else. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, that's why it's a team. Right. So it's next man up, you know, whatever we're asking, you know, that person to do, you know, that maybe not be playing. Their replacement won't be asking them to do what they do, but we're going to ask them to do what they can do within our defense and offensive scheme.
Yeah. Well, Mike, we appreciate the time as always. It's going to be an exciting game. We're looking forward to it on Friday night, coming down there and watching you guys and against Toronto at Clark Hinkle Field and on the road, and a chance to show the Valley, you know, what your team's made of for both of you, actually. And it's a pivotal game, I think, because for one team, a chance to stay undefeated, for another team, a chance to knock the undefeated off. And, you know, you're in the crosshairs of both of those. So, you know, hopefully we have a pretty good matchup and we have a lot to talk about next week.
Well, I thank you. Thanks, guys. All right, appreciate it. Yep, thank you.
Coach Mike Colopy of the Edison Wildcats. We will see you again on Friday night, actually, from Toronto, as Edison takes on Toronto Red Knights. Game time at 7. Your pregame begins about 6:30. And then on Saturday night, Steubenville Catholic Central hosting the Weirton Madonna Blue Ponds. That game again begins at 7, and we will come on here somewhere around 6:30. So have yourselves a good week. We'll see you on Friday.